Hello, hello. Welcome in for another edition of Talking Rasslin. I'm Pondwater Dave, aka Referee Super Dave Miller. Joined with me, as always, is the lady of the first lady of the far. Words are hard, y'all. The
No
first lady
kidding.
of the Arn Anderson fan club, Miss Amy Vaughn.
Woohoo. I just was listening to Arn and Paul on the Four Horsemen Network. They were just doing a little Paul or ask Paul, ask Arn anything,
See, you're doing
as
it too. That shit's
always.
catching.
I know. He did good. Like I said, they got some technical difficulties, but like I said, it's nice. They do an hour from 5 to 6. They just answer questions, and there have been some really good questions. I just found out that Arn has the first belt that he ever won. It was a tag team with Jerry Stubbs. Stubbs?
Oh, really?
Yes, he has that belt. And he has a replica of the TV belt. But anyway, and he even said something about selling some ring used items. I will say, I totally perked up for that, as you know.
Yeah, he needs to. He needs to put them on Heritage Auction. Have you
No,
heard
I
what they
think he just
found?
to let me come and look, and I'll pick out
Oh,
some pieces, and then he can do whatever he wants, right?
have you heard what they recently found? What's going to be in the next
No,
Heritage Auction?
no.
Well, they got what us belt collectors call the Hogan 86,
Okay,
which was the one before the Winged Eagle, and it would have been
okay,
used WrestleMania 2, and it was one that Hogan went into WrestleMania 3 with,
okay.
and they have photo matched it, and it is the actual WrestleMania 2 belt. And they're thinking that it will go for over $1 million.
Do we know any like where did they find it? Is it one of like
Some people had it and it was gifted to them from Hogan.
really cool? So lucky.
Are we on?
It says we're live.
Are we live on the Book of Faces?
It says we are.
Uh,
Let me go to the Facebook and look. Why is you not thinking we look like we're on?
well, I'm thinking that we normally have. Yeah, okay. Willie was just laying back. He wouldn't want to be first out of the gate tonight. Hi, Willie.
Willie wasn't with us last week. Where were you, Willie? I was worried about you. But then he showed up on top 10. So I was like, okay, he's fine.
Hey, Coach. Okay. Everybody was being quiet. But anyway, $1 million, Amy. Can you imagine the wrestling belt going for $1 million? And it's not. It's not Nick Hogan's belt, and it's not there. There's apparently they said that Hogan had gave Bubba the Love Sponge's son Tyler a belt because he's Tyler's godfather,
Right.
and it's not that one either. So, but it surfaced. They photo matched it, and it's gonna. I mean, they're expecting $1 million. They found the United States belt that Nikita Koloff broke on the ring post. You know, the one him and Magnum fought over for the best of 7.
Yes. I'm just sitting here thinking about how do you find that? Like I
Somebody,
just in my
well,
head,
it's set in the sea. It was at CNN Center forever, and somebody packed when Jocks and Jill's closed. They packed it up, and it had been in a box, and it was discovered,
oh
and it's
my
got the
God.
crack in it from being busted on the ring post, and I mean, there's no telling that's a $500,000. No,
Isn't
no,
that
no, no. They hit that one lower. They thought it would be lower, but they were thinking it might go 100,000, and that might be it, but. I think they underestimate Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Nikita Koloff, Michael Hayes, you know,
sure?
holding that belt. And I mean, there's not very many Dusty Rhodes belts available.
That
So I would
that is
expect it to go. I bet it's going to go for every bit as much as the one that Conrad sold.
well, and it makes you wonder, like, is that something that Cody Rhodes would want to get? You know what I mean? Like, because obviously you don't know who the bidders are, but
No.
I mean that's interesting to know, like who would pay $1 million for the belts. I'm not saying they won't, but like, would that be a collector? Is that going to be like WWE? Like, there's some interesting. I don't know. I love all that
It's
stuff.
it's wild. And there was another belt in my old man memories. Oh, the belt that was used in No Holds Barred
Oh, okay.
belt, the one that Bobby Heenan had before WrestleMania 3. That said he had it made for Andre. They
Okay.
repurposed it. They repurposed it and put it on white leather for No Holds Barred.
And where they've sold that, or they're going
Well,
to sell it?
it's been presented to go to auction.
That's so wild.
And there's no telling. I mean, it's not a ring used belt, but it was used in No Holds Barred. It was shown on screen when Bobby Heenan presented it, saying that if Andre won, that they needed a belt big enough for him.
Right. Do you think that
We call that the Andre 87.
that's the Andre 87 that they turned into the belt they used in No Holds Barred, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Do you think that some people, like, they've had these things, but they just were like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But then there's like been this weird explosion of things selling so well.
They're
like,
coming
so
out of
then,
the woodwork now. I mean, there's belts that we didn't even know. Like we thought this United States belt was thrown in the trash after it was broken.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, things are bubbling up, and it's an exciting time for if you're into wrestling collectibles, and even better. I mean,
and you have money.
Yeah,
it's not fun when you have no money.
You got FU money. Go for it.
Yeah, don't have that yet. Maybe
but
one
it's
day.
I mean, it's kind of cool. These things are coming up, and also there may be a belt that possibly was held by Arn.
What?
If Arn didn't hold that one in particular, then Ole did. I mean, I don't know that we could figure out which one was which.
You know, I got a birthday coming up next month. It's a big one. It's the big 5-0.
Ooh.
So I might be leveraging. No, we cannot refinance our house for something like that. My husband probably would frown on that. But
hey, I expect it to go for more than what my first house cost.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy. I love it, though. I mean, I love that things are getting the love that they deserve.
Hey, Conrad's belt not only went over what my first house and my second house cost.
Combined? Like,
no, not combined, but
both houses.
Well, wait a minute.
Would have been close.
Yeah, that belt, if you put my first two houses combined, it was about the same price as what that belt went for.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Aren't you just like, oh my God?
Now, you were mentioning birthdays. There's something else that's having a birthday today. Today is the 30th anniversary of the King of the Ring, where Austin had gone to the hospital, and he came back just in time. And Michael Hayes told him, Jake cut a religious promo on you. So Austin got on there and he said, you sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. And when you think about that, that launched. I mean, that started something.
And
there's no telling how many hundreds of millions of dollars this piece of merchandise has generated over the years.
And it's not just that; it was a whole movement. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
but
some of the best things are done accidentally, as in like Arn when he created the 4 Horsemen. You know, that wasn't planned. Austin 3:16, like that wasn't planned, and just
and he worked 2 of them into the same promo.
Isn't that wild?
I mean, think about it.
Because that's the bottom line.
Because Stone Cold said so.
Isn't that? I mean,
in that same promo. Now, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so is his catchphrase. Because if you think about it, he never really said Austin 3:16 again. He wore it.
Oh, well,
but it was never like worked into promos.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that is interesting? But I guess you don't really have to.
Like Austin's 3:16 was the calling card.
Yes.
But the catchphrase was, that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. So
that is 30 years old.
30 years ago today.
Well, that makes sense. It's kind of the King of the Ring time because they're doing that right now, right? Is that for Saudi Arabia? Like Night of Champions?
Yes,
Is that going to be the culmination at the end of the month?
it is.
I think it is, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
Anyway, so cheers to Stone Cold for, creating one of the most iconic trademarks and catchphrases in his. And we'll still talk about it for
Well, and again,
30 years later.
shirt,
We're still talking about it, and 30 years from now, we probably still will be.
right? And again, black shirt, white lettering. Like there's nothing special. Like the NWO. You know what I mean? Like it was just simple, and everybody had to have it. And I do feel like it's one of those things that if you said Austin 316, people are going to understand. Like maybe not everybody, but you know what I mean.
Think
like
the NWO shirts. I think the NWO merchandise is probably the only other thing that's even close to it. If it's not, they may be 1 and 1A. I don't know if you could drill down to how much money was made on those marks, but
I think
when I say marks, I mean trademarks, not the marks that bought it.
Right. I do think though that's one of those shirts, Austin 316 and NWO. I think that both people in both companies wore. You know what I'm saying? So like the crossover was for those shirts were probably unreal. Probably more for NWO.
Oh,
like
Kevin Nash is still getting mailbox money from that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you still see for shirt wise, you see a lot of NWO for life. Like you still see a lot of that. And then especially when it branched off into the LWO and Wolfpack and you know what I mean? So that is kind of interesting, especially since it was just, Steve Austin was just a one-man show. You had the NWO that was, the group, but still like I always think it's interesting when we look back and again, I do anyway, about the tapestry of life and just how things weave into each other. And again, how Roberts was going through his religious phase. You know what I mean? Like he was having his own revelation of things in his life. So he, was being sincere about that gimmick and said that. And then, Stone Cold comes out with, oh, your Bible, and comes out with that whole piece. And then the way it took off and sent him into, Austin was probably sent into the stratosphere with that.
I remember when he said it, like, I was like, wow,
was that Doc Holliday or Doc Holliday? What is that what he went by? Doc Holliday? No.
Doc Hendricks.
Hendricks, thank you.
Yeah, Michael Hayes was Doc Hendricks.
I was like Doc Holliday was he at the he was one of the young guns, wasn't he?
Yeah. Doc Holliday was the with Wyatt Earp and
is that my Huckleberry? Whatever.
Yeah,
is that him?
I'm your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Summer has kind
Johnny Ringo
smushed my brain a little bit. I haven't had to do any critical thinking for a little bit. I will say this though, just for all our fans out there too, make sure you just say a little private prayer or good vibes, whatever y'all do. Aaron's got to get his wisdom teeth cut out tomorrow. I know nothing's going to go wrong. It's going to be totally fine. This surgery happens all the time, but when it's your baby.
How many boxes did you have to check that you understood?
A lot. And I might have to check some more when I get there.
Oh man. Hey, I got my wisdom tooth one that I had a year ago. I still don't have any filling in my lower lip down here.
Really?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I had a surgery when I was in my teens, like on my jaw. They had to reconfigure it, I guess, whatever. And my upper jaw still is, like under my lip, like you said, like it still gets a little numb or, there's still some feeling, which they said, but
I'm going to have a tooth. I'm going to have a tooth pulled and replaced with I'm going to get an implant. And
really,
my dentist said that you'll have to go to oral surgeon for that. And I told him, I said, well, we're going to have to find me another one because I ain't going back to that son of a bitch I went to last year.
No kidding. Yeah, really. you had a terrible time.
I mean, he did write my dentist a note and told him in all his years it was the hardest extraction that he'd ever had because my wisdom tooth had turned completely sideways. Well, I told
Oh,
him, and here's where I screwed myself. So I said, while you're in there, go ahead and get the top one. Well,
oh,
the top one had fused, so he ended up breaking a piece of it off, and now I got like a jagged piece up there. Yeah,
no, 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 no.
he could kiss the most crustiest part of my ass. I I would never go back to him or send anybody to him.
Oh my gosh, I definitely am not. I mean, I don't know too many people that are super excited about going to the dentist. Like, it just makes me nervous. They're in there cleaning your teeth with all those instruments. I don't know, but I mean, I almost have to take something, like my anxiety just shoots up. I could not imagine what you went through. Like, I would probably have to be completely knocked out. And I'd have all my teeth pulled, so I have denture, so I'd never have to do that again because I think I'd be
I love you
traumatized.
for that, Andrew.
Lord help me.
Coach Keith sent some prayers up for him.
I appreciate it, Coach. Like I said, I know nothing. It's just
And y'all be apprised that our guest we're gonna be joined by Luke Roberts from the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame at the
I'm
top
so
of the hour.
excited. This is going to be so cool.
It's really really neat, and I can't wait till we dig in with him and find out all about the St. Louis Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yes, and I think sometimes we, maybe not you and I, and probably not. Well, actually, no. Some of our younger viewers, maybe sometimes, sometimes we forget that there is such a wealth of history and territories out there. Because obviously now we have, that we don't have that structure like it used to be, right? So St. Louis was such a huge hub for wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of people, and then again, once you bring in Kansas City with Harley Race, like you have some major players that came out and made huge differences, in the NWA and different things like that. So I'm really excited about this topic of just kind of.
And I'm looking forward to learning about it and learning about the wrestling scene in St. Louis.
Yes.
And I think it's just the same with the wrestling area. I think it may be getting up into, Illinois as well.
Oh my God, look at Andrew. I have no doubt that's what happened. Because Andrew is just not normal.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, the first two wisdom tooth I lost because a bullet hit them.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. That was the least of your worries.
Hey, the bullet did a better job than that moron.
Oh Jesus. Oh my God.
It didn't hurt as bad either.
Now that you should put that as a review on his page. Does he have a Google
what's
review?
funny about this guy is that we got to talking when I met him and I liked him. He started in Dallas and he did his residency. He was at Parkland Hospital.
Oh.
And we got to talking about who did my face and everything. And I told him, and he knew the surgeon, and he actually knew. And I said, yeah, he was the number 2 guy at the time. Because Barton was first. I said, yeah. So, I mean, we're talking and he's like, but he asked me where I had it done. I told him Baylor. He goes, oh, that's a country club hospital.
Well, I guess that was good. You went to the country club
I didn't
hospital.
know. I just met him. So my comeback to that normally is, well, if Kennedy would have gone to Baylor instead of Parkland, but I didn't because, I was being polite. But now give me a country club doctor all day, every day.
Yeah, I would think a country club doctor, because obviously you don't want to mess up someone's face. So I would think they would be extra.
Hey,
it was. I don't know.
I'm gonna cut him a little slack because it was very. I mean, it was impacted. I mean, it was a difficult surgery. But
were you not? You were awake?
No.
Oh.
I was asleep.
Okay. You just woke up and you were like beat the hell up, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened during the surgery? Oh my gosh.
Probably
I
would have
have
been
some.
probably would have been all right if I wouldn't have got greedy and just told him just to take the bottom one, and if maybe I'll live the rest of my life and never need the right one.
Oh, I do like how you were. You know what though? That you could put that as a review of. I had my right to taken out by a bullet, and it was less painful than the doctor who took out my two left ones. That could be a good review. I'm just saying. I think I would probably look at that review if I was scrolling. I would probably want to know a little bit more about all that. I got some. I don't know when we'll be ready for it, but I was just going to say my trivia is based on a wrestler from the St. Louis area who is in the Hall of Fame. So I just thought I'd throw that out. So I also enjoyed being able to do trivia based on that.
We don't have graphics, but if you want to do trivia, we can certainly do it.
I'll be more than happy to go ahead and read it off to everybody. Do we have my graphic of like starting it or no? Just go.
It's time for Amy's Trivia. Can you hang? How big's your brain? It's time to play.
All right, for everybody with us, all three of the TNA top 10s with us now. Hey, Terry.
Woohoo! How's it going? Thank you, everyone,
Allison's
for joining
here.
us. As always, we appreciate your love.
Andrew's here. Coach Keith's here. Willie's here.
It was weird because on Facebook, like it wasn't showing up on my feed that we were live. I had to go find it. So, which is fine. I was just trying to. I always share it whenever I see it on, but
yeah,
maybe it'll come on. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
We've been having a hard time connecting to Facebook lately.
Wonder why.
I don't know. Well, maybe we get Elon to buy it too.
Ooh. Well, does it work good on? Yeah, we'll see. So, as you might have heard, so we don't have actual slides, but I'm going to read you. I'll read you the questions. Any chance you have any guesses on who trivia might be on? I will say this: it's a female, and she is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Do we know of anybody? Just asking. Anybody?
No, I can't think of anybody.
Have you ever heard of Miss Penny Banner?
Oh, yes, I have.
All right. She is, I hope that's not it might be one of my questions. I don't know. She is in, I don't think it is, but she is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. She's in multiple Wrestling Hall of Fames, but she is in the one on St. Louis. Oh, all right. The first question, her first name, I might have to get my glasses, is Marianne Kostecki, which is AKA Penny Banner, was born in St. Louis, Missouri on August 11th of what year? Okay. We're looking at, was it 1934, 1935, 1936, or 1937? What year was Miss Penny Banner born? 34, 35, 36, or 37?
I'm just going to guess with Terry and go 1936. That would make her 90 years old.
She has passed away, but
stay hard, Penny.
Huh?
Stay hard, Penny.
Actually, she was born in 1934.
Oh.
Yes, she's a little bit older, right before well, it kind of gets into it about World War II. But yeah, so she was born in 1934. And if you ever get the chance, type in Penny Banner into YouTube, and there's some really fabulous interviews with her, and she kind of tells her whole story, and she's a fascinating character. Okay, next question. What physical feat was Penny Banner able to do that enticed Sam Munchnick to bring her in as a woman wrestler? Was it she could do 75 pull-ups at one time? She could bench press 250 pounds. She could do 200 sit-ups at one time, or she could do 100 push-ups. So the story goes, she did a physical feat. She did a physical feat that would entice Sam Munchnick to bring her in as a woman wrestler. Was it sit-ups, push-ups, she bench pressed 250 pounds, or pull-ups?
It's going to be pull-ups. Pull-ups are more impressive.
You think so?
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you the story behind why she was so strong. And she tells this on an episode of a YouTube video that she did. So she turned in a man, I think when she was like 15, she turned in a man who was on the FBI's most wanted list. And so she somehow got tangled up with him, found out he was on the most wanted list, got with the FBI, set him up so he could be arrested. And she was worried that he said he was going to come and he was going to get her for this. He knew she turned her in and, get her in. No, it was not Billy Jack Haynes. So she was so worried that she decided that she was going to become physically fit, and she knew some jujitsu, like she was taking some judo, like she was really preparing herself to, if she ever was attacked. So she began when she was about 7, I guess she was like 18, 19. She began to be a nanny for a single dad. He had 3 kids. And the deal was whenever he got home from work, she could take the car. And she got paid like $15 a day, I think she said, to watch these 3 kids. So whenever he got home, she would take the car to this like country club, and she was waitress. But in the downstairs they had this gym, so she did all kinds of workouts and stuff like that. Well, a guy came in who was Sam Munchnick's friend and was like, oh, hey, that's a new girl, was asking the bartender, I guess, whatever, about her and stuff. And the bartender was telling this man about her and said, yeah, she can do 200 sit-ups at one time. And he was like, I don't believe that. So he told Penny, he said, I'll pay you $20 if you can do 200 sit-ups at one time. And she goes, okay, I'll do it after work. And so she did. And so this man who was a friend of Sam Munchnick was like, hey, you need to go down and see this girl. She can do, she's very athletic, very physically fit. And she can do 200 sit-ups at one time. So that enticed a meeting, and Sam Munchnick brought her in.
She's more of a man than I'll ever be.
No kidding. But it all started because she kind of got involved with someone who was on the FBI top 10 wanted. So she turned them in. So she wanted to I don't know who the person was. She never actually says in the video, but
that's probably smart.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, she was very much, she's going to take care of herself. All right. So 200 sit-ups. Next question. What famous singer did Penny Banner briefly date during her early days of being a wrestler? Was it Hank Williams, Marty Robbins, Elvis Presley, or Johnny Cash? She dated a famous singer briefly during the early days of being a wrestler.
Bing Crosby was not an option, Terry. Exactly. I'm going to go with I'm going with Hank.
You're going with Hank?
I'm going with Hank.
We have an Elvis in there and a Bing Crosby, which we're not going to consider because Bing was not in the lineup. It's either Hank Williams, Marty Robbins, Elvis Presley, or Johnny Cash. Who are you going with again? I'm sorry.
I'm going with Hank.
You're going with Hank. Hank Williams was her absolute favorite artist. She would listen to the radio because they didn't have a television, but she actually had dates with Elvis Presley.
Oh, dang. Elvis liked to date in the wrestling circles.
Elvis was a big wrestling fan, so yes.
Yeah, we learned that Teeny had more than one date with Elvis.
Exactly. So, and I don't really know, like she doesn't really.
Yeah,
divulge a
Jeff
whole
Jarrett's
lot,
grandmother dated the king.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But I mean, a man about. I mean, he was very fascinated with
Elvis
wrestling,
liked
so,
wrestling.
I mean, yeah, he did. So I mean, and you see a beautiful woman who's doing all that stuff in the ring. I bet that was pretty cool. So Miss Penny Banner won a battle royal to become the first ever official AWA World Women's Champion on August 6, 1961. How many days was she champion? So we're looking at, was she champion for 484 days, 487 days, 490 days, or 493 days? So she was champion for over a year. Was it 484, 487, 490, or 493?
Seems like I remember it being 493.
From what do you think?
Amy, how the hell would I know?
Oh, well, I thought you were just, I thought you were saying that.
I'm trying to be entertaining.
Oh, my bad. The reason why I asked is
because
because.
To show off for the TNA folks.
Oh, I got you. Well, you're correct. It was 493.
Right. I told you. I didn't even know she was the AWA Women's Champion. I thought you were going to say NWA.
She was never the NWA Women's World Champion.
Moolah had that on lock.
Well, and June Byers.
Yeah.
There were some different, and then, they all kind of started, like one would have the title and they would say that, it kind of got split up sometimes too. So I don't know. Them days were wild. So what year was Penny Banner inducted into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame? Was it 2007, 2008? Sorry, I don't know if you read that comment.
And just to be clear, that this is not the same Hall of Fame that we're going to learn about tonight.
What?
The Hall of Fame that Penny Banner went in is not the same one we're learning about tonight.
It's not?
No.
What is this one that we're learning about?
We're going to learn about the independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I got you.
They've been around since 2018, I believe.
Oh, yes. You're right. What year was Penny Banner inducted into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame?
2007.
And why do you say it like that?
It's the only date I can remember out of the choices you gave.
The first one. It was okay. I'll go back. 2007, 2008, 2009, or 2010.
I'm still going to go 2007.
Well, that's good that you did, because that is the year she went in. She was one of the first inductees. She is in that group, the first that were inducted, and she was the first woman, obviously, because she was in that first group, the original.
I am as thrilled. I'm as thrilled with my performance on trivia tonight as I was with winning $4 on the Powerball.
Ooh, don't go spending it all in one place. So I got a couple.
I reinvested.
You reinvested? That's smart.
I actually played the same numbers. I played the same numbers for 9 drawings. So I'll spend $18 and I'll use the same numbers for 9 drawings. And after 9 drawings, I'll re-up and do it again. I've been using these same numbers now for, I've re-upped 4 times now.
Really? I think you have to because we've talked about this.
I've won all of $8 and spent 72.
Well, Terry does this where he has certain numbers. We've talked about this because he has to drive to go get his ticket because, Alabama doesn't have the lottery. And he plays certain numbers. And I almost feel like if you start picking certain numbers, you got to go with that, because the day you don't do it, those numbers will come up. I just have that total fear. Could you imagine?
Well, I had ChatGPT pick them for me, and I'm playing them because quick pick, I've never done any good quick pick either.
Oh, that's interesting. But I've got two fill in the blanks, and I don't think you're going to do the first one. You're probably not going to get it all. The second one, you could figure it out. But
and the crowd said, "No shit."
Well, I did make this intentionally hard, but
yeah, that's hard.
Well,
it's harder than times were in 1929.
No kidding. And now they're going to say, because you were there, right? So, but Penny Banner won the NWA Women's World Tag Team Championship. So she never held the actual heavyweight belt, women's belt. She held the tag team belt. She held it 5 different times with 3 different ladies. Can you name any of those ladies?
She was with Judy Martin.
No Martins on the list. I think Judy Martin's younger.
June Byers?
Nope.
Mae Young?
No.
The Fabulous Moolah?
No. These are not any names. Okay, let me tell you, because you're never going to get this.
Yeah.
First one was Betty Jo Hawkins. Remember her? Were you a fan of Bonnie Watts? Bonnie Watson?
Describe her to me. I'll tell you.
She had curly hair. She kind of wore like a bathing suit type, outfit. Do you remember her?
Oh, yeah.
And then Lorraine Johnson. Okay. That was too hard. I'm sorry. That was too hard. But I do think you will get this one. Did you know Penny Banner was the first woman inducted into the George Thragos Lou Thez Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2008? What award did she receive? So you know some of the awards that they give out at that event.
Is there going to be? Oh, I got to guess.
Yes. This is fill in the blank. Penny Banner was the first.
I don't remember
woman.
The categories. It's she got the Carl Gotch Award.
The who?
Carl Gotch. She got the Lou Thez Award.
No. Let me look up something. I thought it was the Frank Gotch Award.
Okay, him.
Hold on, let me make sure. You said Carl Gotch. Now I'm like,
hey.
My mind sometimes goes. So let me make sure. Oh my God.
You got to double check it. And you wrote this?
No, it is Frank Gotch.
This is a freaking rib, isn't it?
No, I swear. It's Frank Gotch. When you said Carl Gotch, that's what made me be like, oh
Frank Gotch. Am I right, though?
It is Frank Gotch. It was not Carl Gotch.
Okay, but I said Gotch.
Yes.
That I was right?
Yes.
I do better on these than when I when I actually get this. Because I never look at the graphics. Tep sends them to me, and I just drag them in the PDF into the folder.
Well, you should. I mean, you want it to be a surprise.
Most of the time, I don't even know what the topic is until I download it.
But yes,
I've gotten 3 of these hard ass questions just
by throwing out some numbers. You did good though. You did good. So now everybody, Penny, again, if you all get a chance, she has some really great interviews out there. And she was I did come with the hard ones today. But I'm really glad because I think it was, again, I got the opportunity to watch some YouTube clips of her and her talking about her story and stuff. She was a huge influence in St. Louis wrestling. And so, and that's just a little bit of how she got there, but she's very influential when it comes to women wrestling. Like, that's one of the things that she talks about is this. Oh, here's the other thing that is awesome. She medaled in the Senior Olympics. She did the backstroke. She did the shot put. There's something else she did. So, I mean, and then she went into real estate after she got a little bit older. But I mean, she is a fascinating lady. She was
She had any
married to,
kids?
yes, she has a daughter named Wendy. She was married to, do you know who she was married to? He was a wrestler. Do you remember by any chance? Somebody giving you the answers?
I don't know. Let me guess.
Yeah,
She-
guess.
Penny Banner was married to was he a jobber or was he main eventer?
He was not a jobber.
Was he Billy Redlines?
No. I think you will know the name. Sometimes he was with his brother, tagged with a brother. Johnny Weaver.
Oh wow. He
She was
put her
married
on
to
the
him.
put the Weaver lock on her, huh?
That's right. For 34 years.
Look at him go.
I know. And
I think
that's, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think she can take him.
She probably could. She probably could. But again, I think even though we just really just slapped that all together, everybody got to learn a little bit about her. Again, check out her on YouTube. She's
Fritz
she's
is
a
very excited about
impressive-
her.
I know. I don't have any pictures of Lundy.
My grandson Jackson's here, so
Oh, now how old is Jackson? He's
13.
older, huh?
he's 13.
13. Okay. Oh, is he there for like the week? What is he
Yeah,
doing?
I brought him home. I went to Texas to see my daughters for Father's Day weekend,
Yes.
and we celebrated David's birthday. David turned 16 earlier this month, and
Now in Texas, when did they get their permit? When can they get their license?
16.
So he got his permit at 16 or his license at 16?
Well, he got his permit. You can get your permit. You get your beginner's license when you're 15.
Okay. See, in Kentucky, that is.
Yeah, but he
do.
he hadn't got his driver's license yet, but he can now.
I got you. So when
Maddie
they turn
here in Mississippi, Maddie she got her beginner's permit. Then she got, but she couldn't get her driver's license until she completed driver's ed.
Oh, okay.
But she completed driver's ed, and they got her a hardship license, so she's driving herself to
practice
practice.
or work or whatever.
practice. She ain't working.
Oh.
She's driving
Well-
herself to practice, and then she'll be able to next month she'll be able to get her driver's license.
I
She'll be
got you.
16.
So they have here, which they don't really have driver's ed in our schools, or at least Aaron's school doesn't. I took driver's ed, but there's a really good like driving professional, I guess I don't know, here in this area, and so we had signed him up to take those classes. You get your permit here when you're 15, and then you are eligible to get your driver's license when you're 16. So you've got all this time to, really learn how to drive. With your permit, you can't obviously drive without anybody in the car.
Yeah, driving
so-
came naturally to me. In fact, when I was 14, I talked to my great grandmother into letting me use her car to take my friend home, and we got cruising all over in her car. And
I cannot even imagine.
well,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
but I mean, I could drive. It came natural to me. And then one day at work, my dad came up to me and he said, "Hey, quit asking your grandmother to let you use her car. She won't tell you no, and it makes her a nervous wreck."
I can imagine.
And then I didn't get in trouble. That's the thing, is I didn't get in trouble. And then he started having me drive at night, driving him home after work. So I started driving. And then at 15, I got my beginner's license. And the day I got my beginner's license, we filled out an application for the hardship. And that was a Friday. On Monday, we got the notice that I was approved for the hardship license. I took my driving test on Wednesday. I failed parallel parking because my dad's car was in the shop. So I had to use my mom, and she had one of them big, long Fleetwood Cadillacs.
Oh, Lord.
And I failed parallel parking. But then back on Friday in my dad's Hill Dog, I had my driver's license, and this is how easy it was. The restriction was to drive in the city of Dallas only. And I said, "Hey, I'm in the band and we go to football games in Mesquite and Garland." So they just changed it to county, Dallas County. And
Yes, you have
Friday
had it.
night, I'm out on the town in my dad's car. It was great.
What did you do in the band?
I played trombone.
You played the trombone. I did not know that.
I did. You know what they say about trombone players?
Oh, I have no idea.
We can do it in 7 positions. Yeah, I was a member of we called ourselves the Badass Slow Brass.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
How big was your band? Like, how big was the school?
Our school probably had about 2,000 students.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was probably in the band maybe 60 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's cool.
ugliest band uniforms you'd ever see in your life. They were gold blazers with a white shirt and gold ascot, and we looked like Century 21 salesmen.
Andrew also played the trombone. I don't know if I knew that or not. I feel like maybe I did know that about Andrew. How cool. Anybody else in the chat played the trombone?
I'm having my integrity question. Terry just texted me and said, "Stop using your phone to cheat. We see you." I was not using my phone to cheat. I show you everything. I don't care.
Oh, your wrist was lighting up.
Oh.
Yes. Anybody else in the chat play the trombone? Let's just go ahead and get them all out there. I never did play an instrument.
I did. I enjoyed we called our jazz band, we called it the lab band. And I really enjoyed being in the lab band, and I hated being in the marching band.
She said that was Allison that texted you.
Oh.
I guess we don't have to worry.
It's in the group, so
that's funny. We don't have to worry about you cheating because you can't read. Even if you were trying to cheat.
Look, it says Terry on it.
I'm just teasing.
Oh, I guess because Terry laughed at it. That's probably why. It doesn't matter. But when the hostages were released from Iran, there was a fellow that was lived in Seagoville, which was one town over from Dallas. Mm-hmm. He was one of the hostages.
Oh God!
And he so we were in the marching parade. They had a parade, you know. And one of the songs we played was "It's So Easy" by Linda Ronstadt, and we played "Hot Stuff" by Donna Summer. And to this day, I turn those songs when they come on the radio just because I had to play them we marched for 4.5 hours.
I can imagine. So those
we used to get to do the SMU halftime show once a year with the SMU band. They'd bring 2 high school bands in, and then we'd spell SMU, so we were either on the S or the U depending on which one we went to. And it was kind of cool. I mean, getting to go. But I'll remember the first time that we did it was the SMU homecoming parade, and homecoming game, and it was at Texas Stadium. And where I was standing on the field, it was raining, and it was like the water was coming down in a stream off of one of the girders.
Yes, yeah.
And it was like hitting me, and
oh Lord,
it was miserable.
That does sound miserable.
But SMU football was fun because Mustang Mania was running wild. We had Eric Dickerson and Craig James in the backfield.
Now, is Dickerson the one who took money, or is that?
No.
Well, who was that like his family got paid? Was it not a Dickerson? I might not even be thinking about them.
No, Eric Dickerson's an NFL great.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. And
well, it is me talking about sports like that.
Craig
so who
James
knows? I probably have some.
But it was it was a no-name quarterback, but we had a backfield. Every name on the roster was getting paid.
Right.
SMU was doing it a long time ago. The NCAA gave them the death penalty.
So I do want to ask you real quick, because I know our guest is going to be coming on here in a little bit, but what do you think? Do you think that Road Dogg is going to TNA?
Be a good call. It'd be a good call for them. They'd be lucky to have him.
I just wondered.
He gets a lot of criticism. He gets a lot of criticism online, but everybody that's criticizing him, my question to them is, well, then tell me about the time you worked with him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I've worked with him. I've worked with him twice. I've been produced by him twice.
Uh-huh.
At Ric Flair's last match, I had him in my ear. At this wrestling showcase, he actually came to me, told me what I needed to do because I had a little spot. I mean, he takes over. He handled everybody at Ric Flair's last match. He was ran the gorilla position.
Right. The only thing that the only reason why I would not want to see that, and this is a very selfish reason, but seriously, I want him and Cassio back.
Oh
in
yeah,
the podcast. They were just so great. And maybe TNA might give them a better schedule. And I saw firsthand at Squared Circle Expo how much people really enjoyed interacting with him.
he's a great guy.
Yeah, he really
He
is. And he had
gets,
just
I
come
mean,
out, he had just kind of started getting out on the circuit. It was right, in the beginning. And people they had all kinds of stuff that they wanted him to sign, or, they might have had Billy Gunn had already signed it, but they needed him to sign it and stuff.
oh, I'm aware they're coming to Mississippi, and I would love to be able to get down there because I've got like a great big oversized comic book. You know how they did the artwork with the comic book covers?
Yes.
I got one of those, and I got Billy Gunn to sign it years ago.
See?
And I'd love to get Road Dogg on there, and I also have the New Age Outlaws. I bought that DX pack of from Mattel. I got Hunter and China in one, and Billy and Road Dogg in the other.
The other thing, just briefly, is we were talking about this the other day, but I think I want to be watching some more AAA. Like they've got whole. I mean,
I bought a new TV today.
Oh,
and it's a TCL,
mm-hmm.
and it comes with a channel like a TCL, and it's like a lot of content. It's got a Three Stooges channel.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it's got like content broken down into its own channels. Like it's all, I mean, it's free. It's a free app on there, but it has a Lucha channel. And it also has TNA because
like a TNA channel or whatever.
Slammiversary 2022 was on a little while ago. And
look and see if I got that.
And then I have there's another free channel that's on there, Google, because it's a Google TV. There's a Google Plus channel, and it actually has an Impact channel, and it was showing TNA from May of this year. I mean, it's a few episodes back.
Right.
But it's on. I mean, there's TNA all the time.
That's pretty cool.
On two channels, on two free channels.
It is selfish to say that about, with Road Dogg. I think that he would make an excellent addition. I agree. But I mean, Undertaker, if he truly is, which I know he is kind of like the overseer of AAA. I mean, I really like that faction that came. Of course, it's not Pack of Dogs. What is it?
Something Live Crew.
But I mean, like that, and Damian Priest is going. Like, I really think that it is really shaping up.
Oh, you're talking about in that AAA. Yeah, AAA is great.
Yes, AAA. I'm sorry.
They got Almost down there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
he's impressive. But Andrew said can't hide money. But no, I mean, let me tell you something. When you can buy 60, I had it narrowed down to a Vizio mini LED and the T set, but I kept comparing it to all these. I was doing lots of research on these TVs, and I ended up getting TCL because it was better.
Mm-hmm.
But for $479, you get a 65-inch television, high quality.
I mean,
they're not expensive televisions anymore.
No, nothing like that is expensive.
I mean,
anymore.
the picture's incredible. The sound, I don't even think I'm gonna put the sound bar back on it.
That'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, again, it's such a great.
I passed on the Vizio and went with the TCL, and I'm impressed with it. Of course, I'm using a Vizio back here. I've got what I did is I bought a new TV for the den. I took the 65-inch from the den, the old one, to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Took the one in the bedroom, which is a 55-inch, and it's on my desk now, and I'm using it as a computer monitor.
Oh, Awesome.
So
But I do think, as always, I like that the WWE kind of has things under their umbrella, because I think that Damian Priest, even Chad Gable, Ludwig Kaiser, like, this is giving these guys opportunities that they just would not have gotten. I mean, they only had NXT, or, you know what I mean? Like, this is a whole different type of fan base. And like I said, I think it's really
a good
great
product.
way. Yes. Well, and
speaking of a good product,
let
let me get this in real quick before,
yes,
our guest should be here in just a minute. This Friday night, this Saturday, June 27th, at the Florence High School gym, we're doing a benefit for Megan Vanderford.
Yes.
She has a spinal and brain cancer.
Oh,
she's a mother of 4.
Oh,
daughter of a promoter. So Lost Art of Wrestling is presenting Fight. All the proceeds from this show are going to help Megan. Nobody's charging to be on this show. Anything with that's raised is going to them. Sammy Wright's going to defend the LAW championship against Jacob Walker. We're going to have a fatal 4-way with Wright versus Noah Hosey versus Alex Wright versus Hayden Sill. There's going to be another fatal 4-way with Eric Black versus Braden Hosey versus Leo Wright versus Doc Gracie.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. We'll see how Doc and Leo do in there, because Doc kind of feels a way about Sammy and Leo. They've been chirping. Leo's been chirping pretty good at Doc too. So
good.
And then Nick Van Dam's going against Ursa Major.
He's a big dude.
And Frankie Thomas is going to team with Michael Parrish against the Pharaoh of Funk and a mystery partner.
Interesting. Look at old Frankie Thomas.
So
mystery partner. Do we have any clues?
I don't know, but I'll bring my boots and tights if Pharaoh just wants me to stand on the apron, because he could probably handle them by himself.
Are you going to wear your Super Dave outfit?
I'd hate to think I wouldn't. That's the only tights I got.
That's true. That's true.
My tights, my boots. I might even jump in there and help him if he gets them down.
As you should.
A couple licks. If they start recovering, I'll tag back out.
And that's really, what a wonderful thing to do for Megan. Did you say her name's Megan?
Her name's Megan.
Megan
Vanderford.
Because even with insurance, that doesn't take into the effect of like traveling to your, to places for treatment, or, having to maybe being too sick to, watch your kids so they're in daycare. You know what I mean? Like, or too wiped out, it's just like, there's so many things that I think people don't realize, when you're dealing with an illness like that. Like, you may have insurance and really good insurance, but there's so many of those little things that, that just start piling up. And it's really such a great thing that they're doing that for her, and that everybody is donating their money. I guess you could, their what they would be paid.
Yeah.
To do this. It's such a wonderful cause, and
we'll give 10% of anything we make at our gimmick table.
Sure. And again, that's just, that's great to be rallying around her like that, because I'm sure that will help. Too many people.
Let's talk about belts over at Facebook.com. Facebook.com. Big Time Belts. You can join the group. If you can dream it up, we can make it with high quality, low prices. Look at that beautiful Mid-Atlantic Championship.
So cool.
I love it. I'm thinking about selling mine and buying one from him.
I remember you saying that. You have this already.
I really got it on my mind.
You need to get it out and show it to us.
There's the AWA World Heavyweight Championship belt actually has the Velcro on it like the original.
I like that one.
This is a custom United States belt. I like the rings and the grapplers, and then they did red behind the ring and blue. And then of course the AMW Championship, completely custom belt for our good friend Tim Robbins. I wish
What a
he'd had
great-
this belt back when he was running AMW, but his wrestling belt dreams came true. His wife hadn't left him yet. I think he's up to like 7 or 8 belts.
And that blue is beautiful.
So I told him, your wife may not like you collecting wrestling belts, but trust me, she will get over it. I've got 70 of them, and I'm still happily married. And one on the way.
One
And we
belt
want
on
to
the
thank
way.
Big Time Belts over at Facebook.com, Hamazu Bear, for sponsoring our podcast.
Yes,
Amy-
great.
Amy, our guest at this time is with the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. They have an induction coming up next month, and he's here to tell us all about it. At this time, welcome our guest on Saturday, July 19th at the Andres Banquet Center, Telegraph Road, St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome to the show, Luke Roberts. Hi, Luke.
Hey, hello.
Hey guys, I got to tell you right now, I am just so in awe of what I've seen thus far. I mean, I thought I was a belt collector, and I'm going to tell you right now, you put me to shame. I mean, right now, I got one here that I know you very well would want to add to your collection as well, and I wanted to go ahead and start off the interview with this. This is actually the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame Championship belt. Now, a lot of people say, a Hall of Fame. Why do you have a championship belt for the Hall of Fame? What makes this belt special, and I hope my camera will be able to pick this up. Do you notice right here on the side plates? These aren't names of inductees. These are actually names of promotions that have been in the St. Louis area. The last time we did a history check, we were looking probably the last 40 years. So when we talk about independent wrestling in the St. Louis area, we needed something that would be a true benchmark of what St. Louis independent wrestling is, and the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame belt shows that, just like our induction ceremony on Sunday, July 19th.
I love that. Yeah, when you sent me a picture of the belt, in fact, I've got it in the slideshow that I'm gonna put up in a minute. It's a great belt, and I didn't realize that those were the promotions on there. And so now I need you to take another picture where I can see the side plates real good. I'm a belt mark. Wrestling belts are why I would not have had the wrestling career that I've had. I mean, I'm 20 years in as a referee now. A couple of wrestlers, Joey Corman and Mike Page, the Overboys, would me and Mike, I bought belts from him. And then I sold him a belt, and he's the one, after talking to him and Joey for 3 hours over dinner one night, they sent me to a wrestling school. So
hey, just to give you an idea too, if you want to talk about that, it's ironic that you and I'm actually here in my office right now. You and I very much hit on the same wavelength. Oops, sorry about that. Because myself, I'm also a pretty knowledgeable collector as well. Does this one ring a bell, sir?
oh yeah. I have
I got
one, but
one.
I can't reach it.
Yeah, that's the only one I got. No.
And like I said, that's one of the things when you sit there and you look at professional wrestling, there's lots of things you look at. You look at the pomp, the circumstance, the pageantry, the storytelling, the championship belts, you name it. I mean, there are so many different avenues to look at. And like I said, being a fellow official, not just for the Hall of Fame, but like I said, I've been around wrestling a long time. And when I finally managed, I was kind of here and there and wound up becoming a referee after my in-ring career was over. And I give props to anybody who steps in as the official inside the squared circle, because simply put, we don't get the respect we deserve when we're in the stripes. We really don't.
No.
The fans don't give us our fair share. The wrestlers sometimes don't give you your fair share. But one of the biggest things I've always said is a good referee turns a good match into a WrestleMania main event. A bad referee can take The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels and turn it into a match that everybody wants to take the quote bathroom break for.
Right.
And again, I give you props for that. And like I said, I'm thankful that I'm able to be here on the program tonight. And I'm gonna level with you here. I was looking at the title of the show, and I was listening on my way back into the office this evening. I took a little bit of a break this evening to get some dinner in me. Song by the gentleman by the name of Glenn Goza.
Yeah.
I'm
aware. I saw Glenn Goza perform. I saw him perform that song. I'm from Dallas, so I grew up going to the Sportatorium. But he sang he sang Rasslin, Rasslin, that's Rasslin. And he actually wrote the song Heaven Needed a Champion, but they got a young lady named Jill, I can't remember her last name, to sing it at David Von Erich's memorial.
And you know, when you talk about professional wrestling, that's just another reason why you've got to love the independents. You've got to love all these promotions. And a lot of people wouldn't say, well, world class, they weren't an independent. But to me, a lot of times when you look at independent wrestling, you do have to a certain degree, look at the territory days, look at promotions like World Class, look at like Mid-Atlantic, like you showed the championship belt earlier on in the program. When you look at like Championship Wrestling from Florida, you look at Crockett Promotions, you look at Nick Gulish, you look at the bars up in Portland, you look at things at the Olympic Auditorium. There are so many different professional wrestling organizations back in the territory days. And I would say that promotions, especially now today, that aren't WWE, that aren't AEW, that aren't New Japan Pro Wrestling, those are your territories in 2026. And again, I got to tell you, interesting side note, I had a friend of mine, and he's a huge wrestling collector, a friend of mine, a gentleman by name of Dr. Drew Abenhouse. He's the ring announcer for Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling and been a friend of mine for many, many years. He had gone online a few weeks prior to going down for WrestleMania, and he was looking at some different collectibles, historical items, and he found something which just amazed me, and he actually took the video to prove it. He went to Cadis and Industrial and actually took a good-sized rock, probably about inch and a half long, from the side of where the Sportatorium once was. So, again, shout out to all.
You gave me an idea. The next time I'm home, I've got to go by there and get it. I'll put it in one of my Pondwater jars.
And you know, when you talk about
that's
pro
genius.
Wrestling, hey, it's one of those where when you sit and you look at professional wrestling, I mean, again, you can see behind me, while yours is championship belts, but I totally agree with you. I'm up now with local and national. I'm about a dozen. And my wife's still with me. I don't have nearly as much of a collection, but my collection, as you can see, mine primarily as of late has become wrestling masks. And you were talking about a certain individual too. If I don't know if you can see it here in the camera or not. Does that one ring a bell?
That's the Grappler.
Yes, sir. And like I said,
mine's autographed by him.
Probably right on the back of the mask. I actually had an opportunity to see him at the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I mean, really, outside the ring, real nice guy. Inside the ring, double tough.
He turns it on.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
He worked a few shows. I was working for Gil Culkin and Steve Starr a few years ago, and they were bringing the Grappler and the Grappler 3, and he was managing the Grappler 3. And but no, I got to hang out with Mr. Denton, and he was. I love his book.
Great read. If you haven't got it, get it. I agree with you, Aiden. Entirely great read.
Right out of the gate, you hear about him beating Andre the Giant and Dusty Rhodes in the Superdome. So that'll grab you right out of the gate.
We did. Yeah, it was a fun interview. His book, like you said, very good, very good.
But yeah, I'm with you. I got masks and pictures and action figures and belts, but I do all this because I'm nostalgic for my youth, and it takes me back to such a great time.
Oh yeah. And when you talk about it and you talk about professional wrestling, I remember when I first got interested in pro wrestling, and I remember I was a little kid. I couldn't have been much more about 5-6 years old. And I was down in a little itty bitty town called Piedmont, Missouri. For those that aren't familiar, Piedmont's about 2 hours south of St. Louis. It's pretty much, a best way I would say, my geography may not be perfect, is between St. Louis, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Memphis. It's about right smack in the middle of that little triangle of area. And I remember, like it was yesterday, that we had to be, didn't matter what was going on. We could be cleaning house, we could be mowing the yard, we could be taking care of errands, whatever. But we had to remember by 5:05, my dad was in my grandfather's recliner. My grandma was in her recliner. My mom was on the couch. I had to sit on the most painful shag orange-brown carpet you could ever imagine. Okay, I'm not going to say it wasn't carpet. It was just basically a piece of cloth put over concrete. That's about what it felt like. But I remember very well, he didn't have cable at the time. but for some reason she was able to get WTBS. And by getting WTBS, I was able to get my first real taste. And again, a lot of people say if they're St. Louis, then, oh, wrestling at the Chase was their first real taste of pro wrestling. That wasn't for me. Mine was Georgia Championship Wrestling, watching the likes of Ole and Arn Anderson, having a little bit with the Lars Anderson era, Thunderbolt Patterson, early Dusty Rhodes, early Magnum TA, the likes of the Road Warriors very early on in their career. And like you said, once you find something that hooks you into it, you don't want to let it go. And I mean, from being a 5-6-year-old kid to now somebody who's been around the wrestling industry, and it doesn't look like it. I know you guys are going to question it, but for somebody who next March will be celebrating 40 years of being involved in the pro wrestling industry.
Wow.
I mean, again, I've seen it all. I've done it all. And like I said, you may say, oh, well, wrestlers need to be athletes. That's what they need to be focused on. I'm more of a different mindset. We're all still fans at heart. That's why we do what we do. That's why we enjoy what we enjoy. And that's why I still love doing what I do now. And I enjoy being here tonight on the program because we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame that's going to take place on Sunday, July 19th.
Well, tell us how the Hall of Fame got started.
The Hall of Fame got started in 2018. And for those that would know, and I think you both would agree, St. Louis has been consistently considered one of the premier wrestling towns in the history of pro wrestling. You can start back all the way to the days of Sam Muchnick, the Coruscant Room, the Chase Park Plaza. You could talk about places like Kiel Auditorium, the arena, which some call the Checker Dome. When you go back and you look at pro wrestling, St. Louis always has had that notoriety. Many wrestlers have said, St. Louis, if you made it to St. Louis, you had done something in your career. And in April of 2018, two gentlemen, one by the name of Big Time Jim Harris, who is now the executive director of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and another man who I consider to be a really good friend of mine, that being Nick Ridenauer, started the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And it was ironic that the first two inductees were the two men who I would say, without any reservation, when Wrestling at the Chase was eventually picked up by the big company up north, these two men were probably the front runners at keeping the spirit of independent wrestling in St. Louis alive. One was Herb Simmons, who is still the promoter of SICW, and Little Dynamite Tony Costa, who for years was the promoter of the MMWA. And when those two men were inducted in the inaugural class, the fans, it was held at the South Broadway Athletic Club, which, for those that don't know, that building is over 100 years old. It's seen wrestling, it's seen boxing, you name it.
A lot of history in there. I've been in that building. Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson did a live show there, and we were there for it. And it was I spent a lot of time over just going over everything on the walls.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at that venue too, being someone who's been in that venue, you see that little, not really a hole, but where it's kind of built right there, right about where the ring would normally be set up, right in front of the staging area. And I remember very well, like it was yesterday, when they would have the small disco ball there, and they wouldn't remove it because nobody would fly high enough to hit it. But I mean, it was just one of those, even then, I mean, you could imagine what it would have been like 15, 20 years prior, when the beer was flowing freely. Smoking was, commonplace. And when those lights went down at 8:00 and you saw the wrestlers making their way to the ring, you knew things were going to get real. And that venue right there was the perfect backdrop for those two to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And since that point in time, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame has grown by leaps and bounds. I mean, we look at the idea of where, when we first started, it had one sponsor. Now this year, between businesses and media outlets and different promotions, right now we're nearing close to 40 different organizations that are a part of the Independent St. Louis Hall of Fame network. which is very, very huge, especially for an independent Hall of Fame. You look at it from a perspective that in the last couple of years, we've started seeing more of an influx of independent wrestlers who make their movement to the national level. One that really sticks out in my class was the induction of Mischief into the Hall of Fame last year. If you look at St. Louis wrestling, you don't have, and again, I'll just throw some names here. You don't have Dingo, you don't have Mischief, you don't have Delirious, you don't have Matt Seidel, you don't have Daisy Hayes, you don't have Hillbilly Jim, you don't have Randy Orton, among others. You don't have those individuals that make their way to the national and international stage. And that's one of the, even when you look at it now, the likes of wrestlers like Savannah Stone, who's got her start in St. Louis and is now really lighting the scenes up on the Pacific Coast. You've got Rain Victoria, who's heavily affiliated with 01 Wrestling in Central Illinois. Another one who's been in NWA, who's been in ROH, and is currently the Women of Wrestling Tag Team Champion, most doors, Tootie Lim Ramsey. Again, that shows when it comes down to St. Louis, that's where they all came from, and they all stick to their roots. Another one that's out there, and we hear about it a lot with the phenomenon that is Danhausen. We would be remiss, even if we're talking about the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the rise of Danhausen, especially as of late. But you always hear, or in several different interviews, that he talks about when Warhorse went to AEW back during the pandemic and wrestled Cody Rhodes for the AEW TNT Championship. And again, Warhorse, another one that's made huge statements coming from St. Louis. And to continue to have that kind of a situation, to have a Hall of Fame that acknowledges those who go from the independents, who make their way to the top of the professional wrestling world, and they make, and again, as sad as it is, you go up to the top, and a lot of times you start making your way back down. But the fact is, with the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, there's a lot of individuals who have consistently paid it forward. The ones that have gone out there that'll train wrestlers, that'll go back and they'll be sitting watching a monitor in the back and watch every little detail of every match and go out there and see what they can do to make the sport they love so much more entertaining for the fans. Because without wrestling fans, pro wrestling doesn't exist.
Cool.
How
do you all choose people to be part of your Hall of Fame each year?
But that's a great question. We talk about the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. And if you get a chance, you can check it out on our website. That's one thing that a lot of people don't look at is how do you choose it and not make it as they say, a good old boys club. When you look at the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, you check them out, www.istlwhof.com. And we actually have the requirements for even being considered of going into the Hall of Fame on the internet, on social media, so that you can see exactly what needs to be done. But a lot of the wrestlers that have gone into the Hall of Fame are wrestlers who've given large scales of time, given, I believe the minimum requirement to even be considered to be in the Hall of Fame is 10 years at the minimum. And a lot of the individuals, it's basically the idea of what did you do for wrestling? What did you do for the industry? What do promoters say about you? That's one thing that the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame feels very fortunate about, is there are a lot of promotions that regularly communicate with us. I mean, just as I said, the MMWA regularly communicates with us, SICW, Dynamo Pro, CHWA, WLW, the Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance, St. Louis Anarchy, Glory Pro. All these promotions know that their opinion matters. They may bring a different style of wrestling, but their opinion matters. And to give you an idea, just some of them last year, when you look at the class that I was in, I was a Dynamo Pro guy. Jeremy Lightfoot, the Native Nightmare, as he called himself, was inducted under the CHWA banner. You had wrestlers like the Gen X icon Mark Bland, who was a part of the MMWA. You had wrestlers like Douglas O'Shea, who was a part of Rampage Championship Wrestling. You had Mischief, who went in under the GCW banner. You had wrestlers like Steve Sharp, who wrestled for countless different promotions. And then you start looking at some of the past wrestlers like the late Ed Smith, who not only wrestled for several different companies in the St. Louis area, but was also a longtime official for Wrestling at the Chase. That's one of the things when we look at our induction. I mean, our board of directors, and I will pull the curtain back. I know the executive directors told this story just like I have. When we had our meeting to decide who was going to be inducted, the class of 8 that we were going to induct this year, our meeting was nearly 4.5 hours long. Wow. And that takes us from, I believe, maybe some quick math here. We brought 35 to the table this year, and it took us 4.5 hours to go from 35 to 8.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That has to be hard whittling it down.
Oh,
the most 8 deserving.
And that's one of the things as you're seeing nowadays too, when you're starting to see wrestlers that are starting to hit that bottom tier of the requirements. And I mean, there are a lot of them. And I mean, you look at guys like, and for those that follow the independents, not just here, but around the country, there are some like Pierre Abernathy, who's a man that I've known for many, many years, who has been really behind the scenes, one of the driving forces behind St. Louis Anarchy and a promotion that was here for a while called the NWL. We had the likes of the stiff Robo Ginger Gary J, who just recently returned a few weeks ago, I believe, from another tour of the UK. You have wrestlers like the King of Chaos, Ricky Cruz, who, after having a pretty successful career in his home country of Puerto Rico, has come to St. Louis, and I'd be remiss if there's not a championship belt that man has held, or not held, I should say. You look at the likes of another one that pops into my brain, actually another two, is former champion in SICW, the Big Texan. He's held countless championships and wrestled a lot of people. Another one that's highly underrated, but I would say is probably one of the greatest light heavyweights or greatest high flyers I've ever seen, is Billy McNeil. And when you grow up in the wrestling industry, cutting your teeth, regularly wrestling the wrestlers like Dingo, Matt Seidel, Mischief, Delirious, I could go on, but there were so many wrestlers that deserve the opportunity, that deserve that recognition. But again, like I said, when it comes down to it, it comes down to who's made the biggest impact. And I'm going to tell you, this year's class for the 2026 Hall of Fame is probably one of the most well-rounded classes of Hall of Fame inductees that I've seen. And we actually calculated it out before we started doing all these interviews. Over 200 years of experience between the 8 inductees this year.
Wow. Let's talk about them.
Steve Montana.
Montana.
This is a man right here, as you can see, to quote Joey Styles, he's got arms like legs and legs like people. When it comes down to it, Steve's had a 34-year wrestling career. He's wrestled pretty much a who's who of everybody. And I mean, when you sit back and you look at some of the wrestlers he's wrestled, he's gone, and you look at the likes of, and I'm going to throw 3 just to show his versatility. He's had in-ring matches with Chris Adams, Kevin Thorne, and Ox Baker.
Oh,
that's quite the trio.
Yeah, I don't think that spans a very large genre of professional wrestling. I mean, that's one of them that's there. I mean, he goes out there, can wrestle a power style if you wanted him to, but he could wrestle on the mat. He could do what a lot of the mat style wrestling, like a Kurt Angle or a Chad Gable, or back in the day of a Chris Taylor could do. He could do those things. But one other thing that really stood out, besides all the championships, besides all the names, besides all the accomplishments, is the idea that he took his history here in St. Louis, and he became the second member of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame that is actually a part of the Screen Actors Guild. He He has constantly been involved in movies and voiceovers, and I've been sharing this with people. He just last week wrapped his latest project, and the Tuesday after the Hall of Fame on July 21st, he heads back out to the West Coast to participate in another film. When it comes down to it, Steve's one of those, he's double tough, but he's also that quiet tough. You know that if Steve says something, you got to listen to him, because if not, he's going to take and he's going to run you right over. And I'll tell you, to see him in the Hall of Fame class, he was definitely one of those that was near the top of my list. And again, that was pretty much a consensus across the board with Steve Montana going in this year.
You know, that's really smart to be. Whenever a wrestler can do something extra to get into the Screen Actors Guild, because that's a union and that gets them affordable benefits.
Very, very true.
And wrestlers don't get benefits. I mean, it's very hard for wrestlers to get benefits.
Is he actually acting? Does he do stunt work? Does he do whatever is needed?
He's basically one of those where you tell him what to do. I mean, he's done documented stunt work. He has done some acting. As you can see, the cowboy hat is almost like a permanent fixture to his head. He has done a small amount of voiceover work. Another one that I could put out there to give a comparison, and I know there's been some things that have been floating around the news wires as of late. He reminds me a lot of Joe Doring, who had spent a lot of time, most recently, I believe it was in TNA. And I want to give a shout out to Joe as well. I know from what I've heard through the media, is been recently put on hospice for, I believe it's a third brain tumor. Great in-ring talent. But Steve Montana is one of those where he goes out there, and it's a very, very similar style. You name it, he's going to go out there. He doesn't give you any less than 100% every time. And what he's done outside the ring and what he's done to pay back the wrestling industry are a couple of the many reasons why he's in this year's class.
Awesome.
Oh, congratulations to him.
Next up,
Black Glove Butch
Fletcher. It says here he's been a referee, a manager, an announcer, and a promoter.
Very true, very true.
He wears all the hats.
He's worn all the hats, been there, done that, got all the T-shirts. Interesting note, and I've said this a couple times. When I was thinking about back in the early 2000s, back in 02, 03, I was realistically considering taking the boots, putting them on the shelf, and say I had a good run. Butch Fletcher very much reignited my love for pro wrestling. He and I, for the longest time, we lived 10 minutes apart. Never knew it. I'll tell you this picture right here is a lot better than the picture that we were going to use, because when he first started wrestling and refereeing and announcing and managing, you remember Dumb and Dumber? and that powder blue tuxedo with super frilly ruffles on the tuck shirt. That was what Butch Fletcher would wear to the ring as a manager.
Wow.
And the thing is, he could pull it off. But when it comes down to Butch Fletcher is one of those individuals who genuinely gives to the wrestling industry. I mean, he's had a lot of health issues as of late. I had a stroke a couple years ago. He's had several different health issues, but his love, simply put, has been for professional wrestling. And I mean, again, to give you an idea, he really had through his connection with his wife through pro wrestling, which is kind of rare in the world of professional wrestling. His son used to be a referee. He's done a lot for professional wrestling. He's done a lot for me personally. And interesting side note, he has the claim of being, if I'm not mistaken, the first manager of a wrestler by the name of Angus King. Now, the viewers of your show don't know who Angus King is. Angus King later becomes Kane in the WWE.
I love it.
So when it comes down to it, when you look down at it, he's one of those, he's put the miles in, he's traveled all across the not just the Midwest, but he's traveled all across the country to do what he loves, and that is being involved in professional wrestling. And again, this was a no-brainer to me. Butch Fletcher has deserved this recognition for a long time, and now being able to be in the class of 2026, definitely well overdue.
It says promoter owner of Mid America Extreme Pro Wrestling. Is that promotion still running?
That promotion was very short lived, but it was it was a unique situation because at the time Mid America Extreme came into existence, there were two other major promotions besides MMWA and SICW that were around. One was called Midwest Powerhouse Wrestling, and the other was Gateway Championship Wrestling. And it was ironic that when Butch started, Butch wanted to be, and to today, very, very few promotions with as many different promotions in St. Louis. He had a true open door policy. You worked for South Broadway, you could come wrestle for us. If you worked for SICW, you could work for us. If you wanted to work with Gateway Championship Wrestling, you could work with us. If you worked for MPW, you could work with us. And that was the thing that made, with Butch running, I think his promotion ran about 2 years. That was probably as close to the open door policy as I've seen in close to my 40 years. He was the only one that took the idea of the true open door policy when it comes to professional wrestling. And he always, because he was one of the boys, he had been around wrestling long enough, he had gotten the pace, he always made sure that when shows happened, he never stiffed the talent. He never did anything wrong by anybody. If he promised you something, you knew his word was gold.
He looks like a very ornery 80s type manager, especially with this black glove. What did he do with the black glove? Would he interfere with it? Like, what is the significance of it besides just visually? Did he do anything with it?
He didn't load the glove before he hit somebody. I'll be very disappointed.
No, not Butch. Butch Fletcher actually took, when it came down to it, I mean, he was a tough guy, but a lot of people would compare him to Ted DiBiase in UWF. He knew full well that if the time called for him to make a statement for his client, he would be more than willing to introduce that glove to them. And usually it didn't wind up turning out so well for the guy that was on the other end of that glove.
Oh, I gotcha.
All right. How about?
I love that though. That's a great, like, again, talk about bringing you back to a childhood, just seeing him. Like I said, I could already tell that persona and how much I probably would not have liked him as a child watching wrestling.
Oh yeah. And that's just what it is. Now, speaking of which, the gentleman on the screen is the Beast, and the Beast is one of those individuals where I've seen him go in the ring. Beast was hardcore before hardcore was really a thing. I've seen this man over the course of his 36 years in the wrestling industry, and I'm just going to roll through him. He's been hit with kendo sticks. He's been hit with chairs. He's been hit with tables. He's been thrown into barbed wire. He's been thrown through doors. He's been thrown onto broken glass. He's been thrown into Christmas ornaments. I mean, you name it. He has put himself through every possible hardcore style of match you could ever imagine. The matches he had, and I actually want to reflect on one, back in the late 90s for a promotion called the MVWA, the Mississippi Valley Wrestling Alliance. He had a matchup with a gentleman by the name of Billy Bob. You can kind of figure out what Billy Bob looks like just from the name in itself. And to give you an idea, Beast at the time was about 425. Big man.
Ooh.
Billy Bob was about 450. So, I mean, right then and there, you got pushing 800, 850, pushing 900 pounds in the ring. And they actually had the first documented fans bring the weapons match. And I remember being in the locker room because I was still an active competitor at that time. There was so much stuff brought, they put it all into a Foot Locker at ringside. And to give you an idea, when the match started, they had pieces of shelving before it was a big thing in ECW. They had pots, they had pans, they had a VCR, they had a frozen, by the time the match went on, a thawed chicken pot pie. They had a legitimate used child's diaper.
Oh,
Ooh.
And to this day, I have never seen diehard fans as I did at the MVWA that night. Most people would talk about things like stop signs or parking signs or whatever. A fan brought a sign, and the post it was attached to. And, true story, the concrete anchor. What we found out later on that night, and the actual owner of the hall got very upset with us until they realized it wasn't our fault. Somebody had gone prior to the match. They had brought a shovel, and they had dug the sign out of the parking lot, anchor and all, and brought it into the building.
That's a fan right there.
I referee in Mississippi. I'm really not surprised.
But to be honest with you, as much as tough as the Beast is, I'm going to tell you right now, outside the ring, he is the polar opposite. I've had an opportunity countless times to be on the road with him. Had an opportunity, true statement. I've had dinner with his family. I went to an event about 6-7 years ago, right before the pandemic, and he had just got done wrestling a match with Chief Atakula, who was primarily out of like Nebraska, Iowa, Northern Illinois. And he had been through a war, and I was just waiting around because my friend Dr. Drew was there. We were going to do what most wrestling personalities do after shows. And after you got your payday, you get in the car, you drive to the Denny's, and you go get some food. But I was there, and I was like, whose locker room is that? Like, a Beast locker room. Okay, so I'm waiting. I'm figuring I might wind up getting in trouble, but oh well. And Beast comes up, he sees me, because it had been probably 15 years since we had been in the same building at a show. Gave me a hug big enough, I swore he had broken about 6 of my ribs. And another one here, and for those that want to purchase tickets, go to istlwhof.com to purchase your tickets. We might actually get, and this is again, I've officially been told I can say this, but after the Hall of Fame, I can no longer share this piece of knowledge. The Beast, as crazy and wild as he is a huge fan of Tom Jones.
Oh, I love it.
And it's one of those where he's not been beyond cutting loose a Tom Jones classic now and again. But like I said, when it comes down to it, the Beast is one of those where you talk about putting your body on the line. The Beast has done it. And again, him being a part of the 2026 Hall of Fame is definitely another one. Well-deserved and very well overdue.
He looks so familiar to me. I feel like I've crossed paths with him before.
You very well could have. I mean, Beast has wrestled a lot of places. To show how far back, there was actually a promotion that was running out of the, I believe it was Northern Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan area called the AWF, the American Wrestling Federation. And in the process of it all, there's a match where it was him, but it wasn't as the Beast. He was named as Hubert Simpson. Don't know where they came up with that name because the Beast sounds much more intimidating.
Definitely.
And a gentleman by the name of Pretty Boy Floyd. And I'm like, you should have let him stay as the Beast because his opponents were the SST.
Oh.
And needless to say, it would have been better. And again, I mean, no disrespect because I've had my own battles with Pretty Boy Floyd. He's double tough. But in this case here, when you've got 3 guys that are over 300 pounds and they can go out there and just beat the daylights out of one another, Floyd was not the person. I mean, while he was dedicated and he had his back, it was just when you get into that 8, 10, 12-minute mark, people the size of Pretty Boy Floyd don't hold up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then 2-on-1 against the SST is not going to bode well. But like I said, the Beast has been countless promotions throughout the country. He spent some time in Puerto Rico. He's wrestled a lot of promotions. And again, one of those where if you've been anywhere in the Midwest, you've definitely somewhere run into the Beast, and another great member of the class of 2026.
And I think, too, something about the team of Floyd and Herbert just doesn't really make me scared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You kind of have maybe a vision of what that's going to look like.
Well, I don't know if you ever saw the Samoan SWAT team in person, Amy, but they were intimidating.
Well, no, I can imagine. No, I don't know if I've seen them in person. I can only imagine. But I was just sitting there thinking, Floyd and Herbert versus the Samoan SWAT team. I don't know. It just kind of made me chuckle.
Here we have Big Bad Ben,
Big Bad Ben.
formerly the Raging Cajun.
Very true, very true. Very few people know that, by the way. But props to you and the media department of the program for making sure that they got you that research. Big Bad Ben was an individual, and I quote my longtime friend Jeremy Lightfoot. Big Bad Ben was the one that made independent wrestling change in St. Louis. Once Sam Muchnick and the Wrestling at the Chase era had been kind of taken away from us, you only had two real major promotions. You had SICW and the NMWA. Big Bad Ben was the one that stepped out. He wasn't happy in MMWA. He knew, because MMWA and SICW were very similar and they worked together for many years, that the only way he was going to be able to make a statement was to start his own promotion. He spent plenty of time with a promotion called Midwest Renegade Wrestling, and ultimately became the owner promoter of a promotion called Gateway Championship Wrestling. And Gateway Championship Wrestling brought, to quote my friend Lightfoot, an ECW feel to the St. Louis independent wrestling scene. And when you go back and you look at the history of wrestlers that came in to GCW, and again, this was the first real promotion that brought in names on the regular basis. They brought in the likes of, I believe, their first anniversary show. The main event was RVD and Nova. I mean, right then and there, top-notch matchup. You've got the likes of Mischief, Daisy Hayes, Delirious, Matt Seidel. They had the opportunity to bring in Balls Mahoney. They brought in the Sandman. They brought in New Jack. But by the same token, too, there were events that had people the likes of, and I'm true to this with all the craziness, wrestlers like Doink the Clown. Mm-hmm. They managed to bring that feel of professional wrestling back to the fans in the St. Louis area. And I mean, again, they did so much stuff that was cutting edge for the time. Interesting note, Big Bad Ben was actually in the first sanctioned exploding ring match in St. Louis history. And
his opponent,
I believe it was the Human Wrecking Ball, Pete Madden. Another one, if you've never got a chance to catch, you need to catch him out on social media. Pete Madden's one of those where he could go out and wrestle somebody like Big Bad Ben, come back later in the night, wrestle a potted plant, wrestle him for 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and have the fans chanting for the potted plant the whole time. Pete Madden was that good, and Big Bad Ben was that good. He was one of those where he was known for a choke slam. He was known for a power bomb, big guy moves. But this man wasn't beyond the idea of being able to throw spinning wheel kicks and throw in enziguris and getting up off his feet for a guy who was 350 plus pounds.
And being credited as the trainer of Matt Seidel, Delirious. I mean, those guys have done some stuff, and Delirious still continues to. I mean, in creative.
Very true. And again,
my understanding that he's in charge of creative for TNA at the moment.
And again, that's a whole nother story in itself, because the idea, we've heard so many things. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Road Dogg? I've heard from a few other outlets they might consider the idea of bringing back Scott D'Amore. Who knows what TNA is going to entail? But I can tell you right now, Big Bad Ben was the one that really changed the landscape for St. Louis. And when you look at this, I mean, going back and doing some research here, other names that he brought in the One Man Gang. That's another name to be put out there. He had a gentleman who you're talking about, Delirious and TNA. Be remiss if you weren't talking about the Raw general manager, Adam Pearce. Had spent some time in the GCW or MRW time period as well. And I mean, again, when you have those kinds of wrestlers that are coming in, and Ben was the other one too, of where he wasn't beyond when his promotion was really at the top of the St. Louis marketplace, he wasn't beyond talking to people like Ian Rotten with IWA Mid-South, talking to the Jarretts when they were at the Asylum in Nashville, and having wrestlers from GCW make their way to those promotions and get the chance to go to the next step. And I'll tell you right now, I was inducted last year. I've known of this Hall of Fame pretty much since its inception. My view is Big Bad Ben should have been in about 5 years ago. And it was one of those where there were some people, and I'll just call a spade a spade. There were people who liked Big Bad Ben, There were people that you were fearful that you were going to be in a bar fight with Big Bad Ben because he didn't agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing was for certain, Ben told you how it was. And I felt very fortunate before he passed away. About 6 months before he passed away, he and I talked for about an hour. And I had some family in the wrestling industry. My brother helped me get into the wrestling industry, and kind of paying it forward at the end, my nephew had spent some time as a media person for Micro Wrestling and the Big Little Brawler series that you can see on Discovery. But when Ben and I sat down and talked, I just flat out was, when I was talking to him, I was like, you're going to hold something that you had with my brother nearly 20 years ago over my head? That's not right. Let me be what I am on my merit. And I mean, we didn't get to hang out a lot, but I knew from that point in time that I had that man's respect.
Mm.
And that's one of those, if you had his respect, and again, he didn't pull any favors. If you came from another promotion, you had to pay your dues just like anybody else. It didn't matter if you were the champion in another promotion or you were just cutting your teeth. Everybody had to pay the same dues. And Big Bad Ben was the one that really helped change the landscape of St. Louis independent wrestling. And honestly, he was probably the first one out of the group to be pretty much a consensus he needed to be in this Hall of Fame class.
Awesome. Oh.
Johnny Ramirez, man known for being a part of the Wrestling at the Chase era. He's actually going to be receiving one of our 2 President's Awards, which is basically the president of the organization, Big Jim Harris, sitting down and looking at what they've done. And to give you an idea here, he was an accomplished wrestler. He was very heavily involved not only with the NWA and Wrestling at the Chase, but he was also very heavily involved with Central States. If you go back and you look at the old school names that he had competed against, and this again, for those that are wrestling historians, is a who's who. He had wrestled Skandor Akbar before he was Skandor Akbar. He wrestles Sonny Myers. He wrestles Pat O'Connor. He wrestled Bob Geigel. He wrestled Joe Blanchard. He wrestled Angelo Poffo. He wrestled the Crusher. When you look at those names, you got to say that those are the names of people that have done something in this industry. And it's, I mean, you might get 1, you might get 2, but when you start seeing 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 wrestlers that have such a reputation, and that's the list and the legacy that you leave. This is another individual who, as a President's Award winner this year, deserves everything he's done. And again, after he was done, he was known. He was very active in the Metro East. He used to be a business owner. He used to run his own gas station. He had a couple other businesses that he was involved in. Really kind of became an entrepreneur after his time in the wrestling industry. And again, Johnny Ramirez is one of those where a lot of people don't necessarily know who he is unless you're a true wrestling historian. But on Sunday night, July 19th at Andre's Banquet Center, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame is going to give you the opportunity to learn more about why Johnny Ramirez and his legacy is so important to St. Louis.
What is the belt that he has on?
If I'm not mistaken, I have heard that was actually one of the championships of Central States. I have not been able to get anybody to confirm that for me. That picture actually came from one of the inductors this year, a gentleman by the name of Lunatic Max, from his own personal collection. And Lunatic Max had been around wrestling a few years before I got started. So you're looking at somebody who's got nearly 50 years in the wrestling industry. And again, as you notice, it's not like the WWE or a TNA or an AEW where the belt's got like 7 or 9 plates on it. It's like 1 plate. You might be lucky if you had those side plates, and that was it.
I feel like it looks like there is a side plate. I can't tell. Like I said, I don't have my glasses on either, so I look. But that's a really interesting. I don't know. Pondwater, have you ever seen any kind of belt like that before?
It kind of looks like one of the Japanese belts.
Like I said, It
Because-
definitely isn't one of the more well-known national promotions. It doesn't really truly look like an NWA title. It might have been something from the Central States era, because really, when you look at the time he was actually in ring, his major four promotions were the NWA, Central States, the St. Louis Wrestling Club, and Southwest Sports. And from the research I've done, he didn't have any championship in Southwest Sports. So my gut feeling would be
that wasn't a Southwest Sports belt. So
no.
I think you're onto something with Central States, and it's probably pre Reggie making the belts for him.
That
and
very
we do
well.
know. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no problem. Like I said, I'm agreeing. And actually, I'm going to try to see here through the magic of the World Wide Web, actually see if we can actually pull up and see exactly what championship from Central States that actually is.
And I know that, you know, belts can be very similar to other belts. So it could be that there was an inspiration of a Japanese belt that, you know, for this one or whatever.
That could be a trophy. That could have been made in a trophy shop though. So
that's true. And actually going back and doing the historical look here right now, going back and looking at Central States, I don't see, but in the research that I have here, there's only a handful of championship belts or championship matches that were there. I'm definitely going to have to consult some of my resources, because there are a lot of people I know that are much more familiar with the Central States territory. I might have to contact, and again, the World of Professional Wrestling, former WWE employee Chris Goff, who is in the Kansas City area. There's also a couple other podcasters who are very historical in the KC area. Definitely something to look into a little more. But again, another one of those individuals who not only spent time as a competitor, but as a referee as well. Entrepreneur, brought the total package to the ring of professional wrestling, and very, very deserving of a President's Award here in 2026.
So do you give out 2 President Awards each class, or it just depends on the class?
This year is the first time that we've actually had multiple President's Awards. There are other side awards, and we'll talk about those here in a minute. This is the other President's Award recipient, and this is a man that's very near and dear to my heart. He is the valedictorian Keon Option, and the reason why he's near and dear to my heart was because I've been in countless promotions with him, and actually I have the honor, along with a longtime rival, Victor Von Stein of the Agents of Chaos, to induct Keon Option this year under the President's Award banner. Keon Option, without a President's Award in the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, probably doesn't get a nod, because he only spent about 6.5 years in the wrestling industry. But he had wrestled for countless different promotions. He wrestled for Dynamo Pro, former Dynamo Pro Tag Champion. He wrestled for SICW. He wrestled for WLW. He wrestled for High Risk Wrestling. He wrestled for New Breed Wrestling. He wrestled for a lot of different promotions in the St. Louis area. And many people would say, and I'm going to use an old school wrestling term, they would say he was the epitome of a mechanic. He was the individual that simply put, I'm going to go back to what we were talking about earlier on. He's the kind of man that a belt like this back in the day would have been custom made for. It was one of those where he could go out there with anybody and he would make his matches great. I will say that, and it's not a bias here, it's 40 years of experience. He had probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, independent matchup I've seen in my entire career. Was him and his tag team partner, the neon icon Justin Dier, taking on a tag team that's now regular in WLW, High Level Enterprise, a place called the Ready Room. And if you get a chance to go on social media and look, these two men, or actually I should say these 4 men, took tag team wrestling to a whole nother level. The venue was a concert hall, and at one point they actually were doing high risk moves off of the roof girders.
Oh Lord.
Well, no, the thing was the idea of where they jump. I remember one instance, one of the wrestlers jumped. It was doing a springboard, jumped over him, and got enough height, hooked onto it, got one swing back, and by that point, the opponent tag team was so similar in styles, did the exact same thing, knocks him off the girder.
Oh wow!
And I mean, again, it was just that particular reminded me of Jeff Hardy and Edge and the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the kind of matchup that consistently went that way.
Oh.
But while in the case of Johnny Ramirez is more based on the accomplishments he did inside the ring. A lot of what got Keon Option recognized as a President's Award winner was his work outside of the ring. Mm-hmm. To give you an idea, the man got a bachelor's and master's degree. Bachelor's degree, I believe, was in psychology. Master's degree was in public administration. Very intelligent man. He was former national president of Alpha Omega Theta Christian Service Fraternity. He was a former president of the student chapter at the University of Missouri of the NAACP. He ran for the Missouri House of Representatives. And sadly, it was 2 weeks after his 30th birthday, he was an Army National Guard officer candidate and was in training, the monthly training that Army National Guard officers do. Mm. And from the story I heard, it was he told his CO, the person in charge of the training, I don't feel good. And unfortunately, he suffered cardiac arrest and passed away 2 weeks after his 30th birthday.
Oh,
that's so sad.
And it's one of those where, I mean, and again, I don't like pulling the curtain back, but I mean, when we went to his funeral, we knew there were a lot of people that Keon had touched their lives. They were almost to the point of where they were having to consider, where are we going to put people? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the church seated at least 300. And by the time we got there, every seat in the pews were full. Every seat, I think it was in a like a choir area. Every seat was full. And I mean, there was not a person in the world that can say a bad word one about Keon Option and the legacy he had. I think about when we put together the video package to announce his induction this year into the President's Award. I remember a wrestler by the name of Remy George making a comment saying, and again, Remy and Keon had known each other basically from day one in the wrestling industry. And when a fellow wrestler steps up and makes the comment, if my kids, my sons, were even a 10th of the man that Keon Option is, I would be a very fortunate man.
Mm. He put it sounds like he put a lot of life into 30 years. I mean,
no kidding.
Just a man of service. I mean, the National Guard, wanting to be in Congress, just doing good things for his community.
Very true. And like I said, I mean, again, having the opportunity was basically raised in a very Christian home. His father was a pastor. Matter of fact, after speaking with his wife, who will be in attendance to accept the award on Keon's behalf, there is so much. I mean, Keon Option was what, I mean, to me, any wrestler, if they could strive to do what Keon Option did as a person, then that's the mark of a true, genuine, down-to-earth human being. And for him to be in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to tell you right now, myself and Big Vic, and Vic's not, as the name says, is not a little guy. Big Vic's about 400 pounds. And he and I, we've had a couple conversations to talk about our induction speech. And I don't know if both of us are going to make it through it, because Keon is always such a good guy. And to see him go in the Hall of Fame, I think it's definitely, even though he wouldn't be in a normal case because of the length of his career, but I think it's the impact he made on people outside of the ring. That is what the mark of a true pro is.
100%.
God bless him.
Thank you, Tim, for that. For the belt.
Tim Millers points out that Ramirez belt was a trophy belt that was used at the South Broadway in pre-MWA days.
Thank you, Tim. And again, if anybody was going to know where that belt was going to be, and it wasn't me and wasn't going back in the Casey era, Tim Miller's the guy that knows that. And again, actually, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here. The first championship that I ever held was made by Tim Miller. I'll just leave that one there.
Yeah,
The next one, the idea of every lady's fantasy, Marcus Mansfield. Another man who was inside the ring. We talked about, I was at an event this past Saturday, New Genesis Wrestling out in Muscuda, Illinois. And he was one of the founding members of an organization called PYT Inc. And no, it wasn't the PYT tag team when you're talking about Coco Beware and Norvell Austin back in the day. This was an organization who basically was a whole bunch of people who have that moxie they think that they're God's gift to women. But the crazy thing is with Marcus Mansfield inside the ring, you can see from that robe, you can see from just the look, he had that smug attitude. But when you were outside of the ring with him, he was as genuine as the day could come. He was one of those where, and I'll be honest, I sat under the Marcus Mansfield learning tree a time or two in my career. He would be one of those to tell you what you did wrong, what you did right. He might be mad at you. And 15 minutes later, okay, we're jumping in the car. We're going to the next town. We're going to go to the Denny's. We're going to go to the Waffle House. We're going to go to the Huddle House. And he would sit and just talk to you about things and let you know what wrestling was all about. And I mean, again, besides an in-ring career, 3 different promotions that he had connections to. He was tied to the first relaunch of Central States Wrestling and actually had a written and verbal agreement to use the Central States Wrestling name from the late Bob Geigel.
Oh.
Had that, then he was a part of a group called Midwest Powerhouse Wrestling here in St. Louis back in the mid-90s when you had the GCW, MPW time period. And most recently, he was affiliated with a group called ACW, which primarily runs Central Missouri. Marcus Mansfield was a true gentleman outside of the ring. He was a very God-fearing man, very active in his church as well, very knowledgeable, had a degree in social work outside of the ring. Interesting side note, and if you ever get a chance, WWE Hall of Fame. If you listen to Kane's Hall of Fame speech, Marcus Mansfield was mentioned in his speech.
Oh, wow.
Because that was his first traveling partner. That was the first guy who could really get to sit under the learning tree and learn from in the world of professional wrestling. Interesting side note, and I think it was on Rivals, if I'm not mistaken. Remember hearing the story of where Kane talks about that he wouldn't have had a friend to come get him when his car broke down after seeing family he doesn't make it to Bad Blood?
I believe
and doesn't
so.
become Kane? That was the friend.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize, I guess maybe I didn't realize Kane had such a connection to St. Louis like he
I
does.
didn't either until because you always hear about, OVW, the Unabomber.
Mm-hmm. And if you go a little bit farther, you go back to the USWAs of the Christmas Creature. I know for a fact that Mayor Jacobs may not necessarily want to talk about that one too much, but when it comes down to it, and the strange thing too, one of the things I hold very near and dear to my heart, 2 things. One was the idea that I wound up getting him his last interview that he was ever able to really take part in about 1.5 years before he passed away. And he, a few weeks later, wound up passing out. I believe was have a seizure at home. And they went to every possible doctor in the world. They even went to the Mayo Clinic and found out that he had cancer. And he was supported by his family, his church. And I give shout out ACW had I believe it was a super show, and Kane actually got permission from the WWE to come in for it. If I'm not mistaken, the only other show that Kane ever gotten that opportunity for was when Yokozuna passed away, and they did that memorial show for WXW. And when it comes down to, Marcus Mansfield was a great guy, and true story, pulling the curtain back, back in 1995, I was still in high school, but I was still involved in the pro wrestling industry. I just had my first couple matches, and I was telling Marcus about the fact that I was involved and I was still in high school, and I was kind of the wallflower. I kind of stayed to myself, stayed to my own little group of friends. And he's like, "You're working next week, right?" "Yeah, sure, I am. No problem. What's up?" There was a promotion that he used to work for, no longer in existence. Always carried that promotion's light heavyweight belt in his bag because he had never lost a title. "Here, take this to school." Okay. And the story goes, for about a week, I had that championship. And what was weird is people you never thought would talk to you when you actually have some championship, they start talking to you.
Yeah, it's a conversation starter.
Exactly. And like I said, Marcus is another one that was gone way too soon. And again, I want to give a shout out to his wife, Carla. I also want to give a shout out to his kids. Last time I talked with her, I believe that their son is actually training for a in-ring debut, hopefully sooner rather than later. But Marcus Mansfield, Every Lady's Fantasy, again, another one that definitely, just from the person he was, that deserves 10 out of 10 times to be put in the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
All righty, here we go. My long time friend, Tom Simon. Tom Simon has been anywhere and everywhere. He actually started his career in pro sports back, I believe, in 1976, announcing for the Midwest Thunderbirds roller derby team. And since that point, he's been everywhere in pro wrestling. He's been an announcer. He's been a booker. He's been a referee. He's been a timekeeper.
Let me interrupt you just a second. So if he was the announcer for the Thunderbirds,
mm-hmm.
then there's a chance that I heard him calling roller derby.
Mm-hmm.
Because after Saturday Night Wrestling went off, roller derby came on, and I was a huge fan of the Thunderbirds.
Very, very true. Like I said, it was one of those where, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that he actually replaced, but I was on another interview, and I actually got to hear the story about the gentleman who was their primary broadcaster, primary announcer, had left. They had hired somebody else who didn't know the first thing about roller derby. And the story goes is that Tom was every Sunday he would go to the Kiel Auditorium for roller derby. And he wound up getting the job, and it ultimately wound up into him being 2 to 3 days a week. He'd be like, I think it was Saturday. I want to say it was Friday night he'd travel. Saturday he would do events in Chicago, come back Sunday, have somebody take him to the airport to pick up his car, and then go through his week. And after that took place, I mean, he moved on, came into wrestling in 97. The gentleman who actually really gave me my first big break, Steve Murphy, the man who's going to induct Tom Simon into the Hall of Fame under the Pete Parisi Award. For those that don't know and you get a chance, Pete Parisi was the television guy before St. Louis really had television back in the late 80s, early 90s. He was the one that would go home. He'd take all the footage he had. He would assimilate it into a 60-minute cable access show, and then he would take it to all, like you hear the stories, take it to all the different stations to get the program aired. If you get a chance to check out some of the stuff, Pro Wrestling with Big Daddy, Roger Bailey recently passed away, and then in turn Pro Wrestling with the Giant Assassin. If you catch that on YouTube, you can see a lot of why Pete belongs in the Hall of Fame and has that recognition. But Tom Simon, besides doing it all, he's been heavily involved outside of the professional wrestling ring. He's been at the Tragos Thez. He's regularly one of the people at the front desk for the Cauliflower Alley Club. He actually, for the last couple of years, has been the anthem singer, both the U.S. and the Canadian national anthem at the Cauliflower Alley Club. And actually, putting a little more out there, Tom Simon has actually graciously volunteered to sing the national anthem to start this year's Hall of Fame.
Oh,
So, I mean, again, it's one of, and again, his experience is there. He was an accomplished musician when he was younger. He, I believe, was trumpet and cornet. I believe he played, and in addition to all that as well, Tom has been. I mean, he's also sang at minor league baseball games. So, I mean, he's basically, there's nothing that he can't touch that doesn't seem to work for him. And that last little sidebar, he actually was able in 1997, if I'm not mistaken, was able to organize the first legitimate professional referees strike in the city of St. Louis. And the end result was he wound up costing the MVWA an event. True statement. Tim Lukanoff, who's the Missouri, who's now the Missouri State Office of Athletics Director, remembers that in '97 that they had 3 referees that were on the roster. All 3 referees cited unsafe working conditions, and because none of the 3 of them would go, he would not let the MVWA had an event until the matter was resolved.
Wow.
So, and again, he's one of those where Tom Simon has been a great friend for many, many years. Actually, when my wife and I bought our new home several years ago, his family lives 10 minutes down the street from me. And anytime he's in the greater St. Louis area, we always make it a point. He gets in contact with his sister. I get a hold of my wife and a couple other family friends. There's a lot of restaurants in our immediate area. And we've had plenty of time of sitting back and enjoying food and having good times and talking about the history of pro wrestling, which with him being the Pete Parisi winner, definitely, if there's an award that fits Tom Simon, the Pete Parisi is him.
That is awesome. Yeah. And there's that belt.
nice.
And the crazy thing of it all too, with that championship belt, you were talking earlier about big time belts. And I want to give a shout out to them too. Not only are they a sponsor of the show, but also I've heard they did a lot of great work. That championship belt was actually made by another U.S. company. The company that made that belt was actually a group called Doomed Outfitters.
Okay.
And they are a startup company down in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. And I sat down with their one of their representatives, Will, and Will's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I've always been a fan of the WWF Intercontinental Championship, and I actually had the idea of why don't we use the old IWGP style for the side plates to represent all the different promotions."
Mm-hmm.
And here's the crazy thing of it all: double-sided, as in the double layer belt, which most companies, like you talk to a Reg Park, you talk to a Dave Milliken, you talk to people like Top Rope, you talk to Wildcat. If you want the double thickness stitched together belts, you're looking probably 2 to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
From creating the image, creating the blueprint, if you would say it that way, to delivering, 6 weeks.
Wow.
Man.
And they were able to do it. And since that point in time, you name it, they can come up with it. I've seen them make shirts. I've seen them make do designs on different pieces of wrestling gear. I've seen them make things like coffee mugs, koozies, stickers. I mean, you name it. I think now they're getting ready to start going into making professional wrestling posters as well.
Oh, cool.
So when it comes down to it, if there's anything that they
to make
need,
a comeback,
the poster,
the poster needs to make a comeback. We have a guy that does our graphics for Bayou Independent Wrestling, and every now and then he'll show up with a stack of posters for a card that he's particularly proud of, and it's nice whenever I can snag one of those. Those are,
and you know
that's a lost art.
Yeah, and that's one of the things to look at too, is the idea in the world of professional wrestling. A lot of people in 2026 are now going to creating the Facebook events or creating the social media. That's one of the things that there's a lot of promotions here in the St. Louis area Some that pop into mind, like SICW, like the MMWA, like Dynamo Pro, like CHWA, like IEW, among others, that are still in believing that you go to the businesses, you put up the posters, you let people see what you're bringing to the table, because it's great to see it on the social media, but you see hundreds of them. If you can go to your local restaurant or you can go to your local gas station and you see something like that, hey, they took the time to come to see some of these local businesses. If they're going to take their time to be a part of the community like that, maybe I need to put out my money and see what they're all about. And again, I agree with you 100%. The idea of posters, definitely something I've always been a huge fan of, and I really wish would make more of a comeback than they have.
Yeah, you're right though about getting out there and actually putting them in storefronts and hitting the streets. And the last time I was in St. Louis, leaving a WWE event, Money in the Bank, Michael Elgin himself was outside with his street team passing out flyers for their event. As a matter of fact, he was going to wrestle. He was going to wrestle Cody. Cody was out doing his own thing.
That was for when he was affiliated, I believe it was with Glory Pro.
Yes.
And they were going to have their event at the Belclair Fairgrounds. And like I said, that event was one of the biggest, and I'll level. The only event I've seen that's drawn more than that event, there are two that have been in that same league. And ironically, actually three. One was when SICW, it wasn't one of their fan fests, but it was a tribute to the wrestlers of yesteryear. And it was a year they had the Rock and Roll Express. They had Tommy Rich. They had, I think Sergeant Slaughter was there. Jerry Lawler was there. I think that one was pushing 500. I know that Dynamo Pro used to do a lot of events with the Cinco de Mayo Festival in St. Louis, and they would normally draw 500, 600, 700 people. But that's one thing when you sit and you look at pro wrestling, that's what draws people to it. You don't necessarily, you're going to have the fans that watch the WWE or watch an AEW or watch a New Japan or now watch a AAA since it's under the WWE umbrella. But when you can actually see something and get that idea of these are the wrestlers that are going to shape the future of the industry. And I'll tell you right now, since in the last year or two, there's a gentleman here in the St. Louis area, and he doesn't know I'm going to say anything about this. A gentleman or actually two of them. One is a gentleman by the name of Jalen Strong. He's a man who has a very well accomplished amateur background. A man who is just, and then this is saying something. I think he would give Javon Evans a run for his money in athleticism.
Wow.
He was a man who I saw. He was sparring with a man that travels with him regularly. From the outside of the ring, ran up flat-footed to the second rope, completely jumped the apron. Second rope, no hands, jumped over the ropes, close to 2/3 of the way across the ring and hit a Canadian destroyer.
Oh my God.
And again, no hands, no nothing. The kid is that good. He's very humble. He's got so many different styles. Another one who a lot of people need to keep an eye out on, and I will say this man's name for the longest time, is a gentleman by the name of the Dragonfly, Chris Exodus. As a kid, grew up, really a bad situation growing up. And the thing that kept him going was pro wrestling. And he's already had the opportunity in his young career. He's been to several different promotions. I know he's been to Rocky Mountain Pro. He's been to OVW. I think right now he's been talking to a few people that we know out in the Southwest. And right now, as it stands, he's one of those where, again, if somebody on a bigger level doesn't pick him up, they would be remiss. But the point I'm getting at is this: those are the kinds of wrestlers you see at your local independent shows,
100%.
and then you can go back later on in your lifetime and say, "I saw them win."
Yes.
And again, That's right there. And the time they take, the pictures they sell, the autographs they give, all those kinds of things. Those are the memories that are made.
The stars of tomorrow. The stars of tomorrow. You can see them today. You can afford to go. You can take the family, and
Yes.
Exactly.
and you can. And it makes it so more exciting when somebody that you followed, and you see them. You see them on Monday night or Wednesday night, or it's so satisfying when especially if you knew that person, that you could see it in them. They're going to be something, and also the stars that have made it on their way back down come through too. So.
Very true. And one of the
not
things
bitter about it. They're there to help and make the shows better.
And that's one of the things too. I mean, not just from a fan perspective, but from a trainer, referee, announcer, competitor standpoint. When you get to see wrestlers, and I've had that opportunity, guys like Warhorse going to AEW, wrestlers like Ray and Victoria going to AEW. Man, I used to be on many shows with a gentleman by the name of Dirty Jake Durden, the Intelligent Monster. Getting to spend, I think it was 3 weeks with Pro Wrestling Noah and being able to have a match with Takeshi Morishima, among others. Seeing wrestlers the likes of Attila Khan, the international bounty hunter, who I believe was last year, got to spend, I think it was 10 days in Japan. And I mean, here's a man who has no problem going out there and bleeding and leaving it all in the ring, but his tag team partner was Madman Pondo.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that team, that's just a recipe for disaster right there. But I mean, when you see wrestlers like that, you see wrestlers like High Level Enterprise who had spent time in Noah, and you see all these wrestlers going to all these different places, and not just as a fan, but as a person behind the scenes, you could say, "Hey, I knew you could do it," and now you're on those bigger stages, and seeing that makes it all worthwhile. And that's why the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame is in existence, because you have wrestlers that do so much, that go, and like you said, they can reach the top at the local level, they can build up to national or international and come back, they can keep bouncing back and forth, but they always pay it forward. And that's what the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame looks like.
Well,
so cool.
The event is the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, Sunday, July 19th at Andre's Banquet Center, 4254 Telegraph Road, St. Louis, Missouri. Doors are going to open at 12:30. The event starts at 1 p.m. Tickets are $30 in advance, $35 at the door. Visit the website www.istlwhof.com and do yourself a favor. And I don't know if you haven't been to a Hall of Fame event, they're a lot of fun. I mean, just hearing the inductions, meeting the inductees, everybody has a great time, and it's celebrating people that really deserve to be celebrated. And as you could tell by what Luke's told us, that they're not just good wrestlers, they're great human beings.
100%.
Very true. And you know, one thing too, guys, you talk about, it's not just a one and done kind of deal. You look at it from the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, you get the opportunity to have a meal with your $30 ticket. You get to have the opportunity to be a part of, this year we're actually going to have some different items out for display, different belts, boots, tights, things along those lines about the historical aspect of it. And just to let people know, we just agreed to this in the last few days. There's actually going to be a 2026 Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame pre-show. You heard me right. A pre-show. It's going to be starting at 11:30 a.m., a full 90 minutes before the event begins. It's going to be hosted by Renee Martinez and John Blaine, two very accomplished and very knowledgeable podcasters who are knowledgeable of the area. They're going to be hosting, and it's going to be just like you would see in the WWE without the WWE's budget. We're going to have an opportunity to look at all the reasons, all the things that bring those people into the Hall of Fame. We're going to have special guests that are going to be popping in from time to time. This is going to be a whole day extravaganza. And where else can you go and experience 3, 4, 5 hours of professional wrestling history, excitement, stories, you name it, and you only spend $30. That's a great deal in itself. And again, www.istlwhof.com. Tickets are available online. You can also purchase them at $35 at the door. It's going to be a great night. And like I said, if you want to tune in, there's going to be a lot of different programs that are going to be not only airing the event, but I know it's going to be a lot of them watching them. And if you're watching Talking Rasslin here tonight, this is a show that definitely is going to be taking a part. And on behalf of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, we want to say thank you for having us on the program tonight. And like I said, there's going to be plenty more coming up with the Hall of Fame. There's going to be plenty more with St. Louis Wrestling. And anytime you need somebody to come talk on the show, whether it's local, territorial, you name it, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame would be more than happy to come on and share with your viewers the history, not just of St. Louis pro wrestling, but the sport we all love, professional wrestling.
Thank you so much, Luke. I can't thank you enough for your time. That you've been very generous with it. We've gone an hour and a half, and I think we could probably go 2 more hours if we wanted to.
Most definitely.
Well, so good luck to you and the Hall of Fame, and thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about it.
Thank you very much.
The door's
guys.
always open. If
here.
there's everything you need to get out there, and I'll probably take you up on that offer and bring you back on, because I'd just love to talk about the territory days with you.
Yes.
Hey, not a problem at all. And like I said, if you want to tune into the best in professional wrestling talk, make it a point, Talking Wrestling right here on all the great social media outlets. Make sure you keep an eye on them. They bring the best each and every episode. Thank you very much for having us, and we'll be right back here real soon.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank
you very much.
Good night. Luke Roberts, everybody. That was really, really good. And I can't
What
wait.
a great class. I mean, just like you said, not even just what they did in the ring, but outside of the ring. They are
Yes.
some great. I mean, those are some great
And you
stories.
can tell it's so dear to his heart, because he was emotional telling us about, a couple. I mean,
the ones he gets.
I can't wait.
One, or at least he said he was going to induct the one.
Well, that young
the one
man, Keon, that young man left way too soon, and
Oh, I
but
know.
he packed so much life into 30 years.
He is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tuning in. We'll find that on July 19th. I want to watch that Hall of Fame induction.
Well, I will say this: I've got something in the works, maybe with Miss Allison Faye. But if that doesn't happen, I may go to that. I may go to the Hall of Fame that weekend.
That's not far from you, is it?
St. Louis is like 3 hours. Not even that.
Well, all right.
Like I said, I got plans possibly brewing, but if for whatever reason they don't, I think that would be a great thing to go to.
Be sure to check everybody out on our network here at markoutmoments.net. If you're watching us on Facebook or X, come on over and check us out on YouTube as well at markoutmoments.net. That'll take you to our page, all of our great content. We've got Drunken Pop, who just did, I believe, June 2003. The TNA Top 10. We just did the top 10 baseball managers of all time. And, I've grown as a person, because a lot of them in my top 10 I couldn't stand, but
you know what? But
I loved me some Tommy Lasorda and Billy Martin, and they were 1 and 2 respectively.
I said Billy. I said I'm probably going to throw your algorithm off, because I went basically. It's like, who do I know? I knew Billy Martin from WrestleMania. I didn't even know what team. I didn't know
Billy Martin with Steinbrenner firing him, and he was entertaining on the beer commercials, and he's a manager of Texas Rangers early on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Tommy Lasorda was always on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He
was
was on an episode of Wonderbug that I used to watch
Wonderbug.
on Saturday morning. It would come on after The Lost Saucer and Dr. Shrinker. And
Dr. Shrinker.
yeah.
I didn't know what that is. Is that like a cartoon, or was that like
no,
a
it was
side
live action show on ABC.
Interesting.
The Lost Saucer was Jim Neighbors and Ruth Bussey.
I actually do know who those people are.
And then you had Dr.
Shrinker.
Dr. Shrinker, and then and Wonderbug was about like a dune buggy, slept car.
So
and it became slept car turned into Wonderbug, and it was just. But Don Sutton, I think Don Sutton got kidnapped, and Wonderbug saved him, and Tommy Lasorda appreciated that.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. There were two people, 2 managers named Terry, and one that had last name Weaver. So I just picked them. I was like, oh, that looks good. I don't even know.
Well, I couldn't stand Tony La Russa. And
who was he? What would he play?
He's a manager of the A's and the St. Louis Cardinals, and St. Louis knocked the Rangers out. So
I gotcha. I gotcha.
But Bobby Valentine was on the list, and I put him on there. He wasn't in top 10, but he's the manager of the Rangers. But man, every time he did an interview, you just want to reach in the TV and just slap him.
Oh, really?
He was so
say
arrogant.
Stupid stuff? Oh, arrogant. I was gonna say, did you say stupid stuff?
Yeah. TJ's doing Bash on the Buttons. He's
That's a
playing
really
classic
popular
video
show.
games. He does very well with Bash on the Buttons.
I mean, I think, yeah, they do well.
Mint card mark out. Whenever we can afford cards, we log in and open them.
I haven't bought anything lately, have you?
Man, I'm thinking of getting a hobby box.
Are you?
I'm thinking about it.
Ooh.
Over on the DAV Network, the Double Drop Kick podcast, I was supposed to be on with Kevin this weekend, but I'm doing the fundraiser. So unfortunately, I had to cancel on Kevin. But we are going to get together probably July 25th. I hate to keep doing it, but it's for a good cause. I mean, when Lost Art decided we were going to do the fundraiser.
Oh, and Kevin would 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he understands.
100% behind that.
But I mean, we've missed connections so many times on this. Spanning the Globe, they'll be on Thursday night talking about wrestling belts. Mark and the crew do a great job on that over on Facebook and YouTube. We went long tonight. Appreciate everybody, and the numbers have not dropped, so I appreciate everybody that's hung in there with us.
We've given them a little peppering of all kinds of
guest
tonight.
Luke was so much fun to have on, so enthusiastic, and I feel like there's more to talk about with just Luke, about what Luke's career and his fandom, and
heck yeah, 50 years.
Like, so busy telling us about everybody else. So
40 years. Sorry, yeah, I definitely
we're
think
definitely gonna have Luke back in here again.
And I do want to say just real quickly, Glenn Jacobs, his family was in the Air Force. He grew up in St. Louis.
Oh,
he actually went to Northeast Missouri State. So little knowledge there. Like I said, I had no idea who was that. And he wanted to play football, and when that didn't work out, he went to wrestling. So I just thought I'd share that real quick.
Well, all right. We'll be back here again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
You are cursed. No.
Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about how great Danhausen it is this week.
Yeah. We'll talk next week.
So much, but it's big wrestling weekend too, so we'll have plenty to talk about next week.
Is Night of Champions this weekend?
Night of Champions, Slamboree, Great American Bash. I think there's something else.
What is AEW? Forbidden Door.
Oh, Forbidden Door.
It's all this weekend. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, we do got a good weekend for wrestling.
You can't get your wrestling fix this weekend. You can't get your wrestling fix.
I got the ESPN Unlimited, so we'll see how that works for me for Night of Champions.
There you go. For Amy Vaughn, I'm Pondwater Dave. We'll thank all y'all for listening, and we'll see you again next week on Talking Wrestling on Mark Out Moments. Good night.